Chapter 22-23. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios' Tagan family's relay station was located at the bottom of the Wulong Haut mountain range. The scattered pharmacists, small families and gangs that went up the mountain to pick herbs had to pay a hefty commission before they could go up the mountain. Of course, you could also go up the mountain from other unguarded places, but there was only one way up the mountain. The other places were covered in dense forests, poisonous insects and poisonous weeds. There was also the possibility of encountering ferocious beasts. Many of these small families and gangs that came to pick herbs weren't cultivators. Even if they were, their strength was relatively low, so it was better to spend some money to be at ease. Seeing young Master Tagan Long stumbling down the mountain with Razi, the Tagan family's protector 3, who was in charge of receiving them, immediately greeted them. "Young Master Tagan Long, what happened? Why are you so flustered?" I'm so angry, Tagan Long wailed. But after shouting twice, he lowered his voice and said to the protector 3, "We'll talk when we get back." Other than the Tagan family's men, there were also the Lu family and Shangguan family's men nearby. There were also people from the Fire Wolf gang and Red Conch family. Hence, Tagan Long still acted very brainlessly and made a big fuss, making people think that he was a useless playboy. However, the Protector 3 was a core member of the core family. He was Tagan Long's uncle and naturally knew about Tagan Long's matters. Hence, he immediately understood Tagan Long's hint. Together with the yelling Tagan Long, they quickly boarded the Hummer that they came from and returned to the Tagan family. In the Tagan family's secret chamber, the family's patriarch, the Great Protector, the Second Protector, the Third Protector and Tagan Long were sitting around a round table. These 5 people were the current core members of the Tagan family. The Tagan family's patriarch was currently Tagan Long's grandfather, Tagango. The Second Protector was Tagango's eldest son, Tagansha, who was also Tagan Long's father. The Third Protector was Tagango's youngest son, who was also Tagan Long's uncle, Taganmo. Actually, the Tagan family's protector was like the elders of other families and sections. It was just that in the families of Ruilada town, they were usually called protectors. As for the Great Guardian, he wasn't a member of the Tagan family, but he was also a heaven rank expert of the Tagan family. Of course, he was not the only heaven stage expert in the Tagan family. Tagan Gao's father was also a heaven stage expert. Moreover, his strength was even higher than the head protector. It was just that he was in closed-door training all year round. However, whether it was the clan leader, Tagango, the second and third protectors, Tagan Long, or even Tagango's father, Ancestor Tagan, they all followed the Great Protector's lead. It wasn't because of the Great Protector's strength, he was only at the early stage of the Heaven Realm. Moreover, he wasn't a core member of the Tagan family. He could only be considered a distant relative of the Tagan family, one that wasn't related by blood. However, his position in the Tagan family was transcendent. The reason was very simple: he came from an extremely mysterious place. If the Great Protector was the number 1 figure of the Tagan family, then Tagan Long would be the number 2 figure of the Tagan family. This was because he was someone the Great Protector had high hopes for. Tagan Long didn't hide anything and told everyone what had happened after he ascended the mountain. At this moment, Tagan Long was no longer the brainless wastrel he had been before. He spoke in a very organized manner. Hearing that the capture of the Fire Lion had failed, the Great Protector didn't care much. He waved his hand and said, "It's a failure as long as the person is fine." The Great Protector didn't have much of a reaction on the surface, but he let out a sigh of relief in his heart. If he had known that it would be so dangerous, he definitely wouldn't have let Tagan Long take the risk to capture the spirit beast. If it wasn't for the fact that the Fire Lion was very sensitive to his aura and that his appearance would have alerted the Fire Lion, the Great Protector would have definitely accompanied Tagan Long up the mountain. As you said, it was that Zhang Naipeo who caused trouble. This person needs to be thoroughly investigated. Who is he and what is he doing here? The Great Protector didn't say much about the failure of the capture of the Fire Lion. Instead, he turned his attention to Lin Yi. "Right, there's something important I need to report to the head protector," Tagan Long said seriously, remembering Sun Jingyi all of a sudden. "Oh, what is it?" the Great Protector asked. "The Great Protector showed us 2 pictures and asked us to search for these 2 people," Tagan Long said. "That's right." The Great Protector nodded. He did take out 2 pictures and asked the Tagan family to search for them, but they didn't find them in the end. He didn't expect Tagan Long to bring it up again. Great Protector, the woman in the picture is a beauty. That's why my memory is very good. The woman beside Zhang Naipeo looks very similar to the woman in the picture. Taganlong said, so I've been trying to get close to her, wanting to trick her back for the Great Protector to check. After that, because of a conflict, I wanted to forcefully kidnap her, but the fire lion ruined everything. What? Are you sure? The woman beside Zhang Naipeo is the woman in the picture? The Great Protector's eyes lit up as he asked quickly. Shouldn't be wrong. But the picture is dead and the person is alive. It's just that they look similar. I can't guarantee that I'm 100% sure, Taganlong said after some thought. That woman, how old is she? The Great Protector asked. Around 20, shouldn't be too old, Taganlong said. Around 20? Are you sure? The Great Protector was a little confused after hearing Taganlong's words. That should be the case. She and Naipeo both look really young, around 20, Taganlong said with certainty after some thought. That can't be right. The Great Protector shook his head. If it was that person, he'd be at least 40, almost 50. How could he be in his 20s? 40, 50? That's impossible. Unless she used some medicine to rejuvenate her youth, I wouldn't be that old. Taganlong was very sure of Sun Jingyi's age. Rejuvenation. The Great Protector shook his head and asked, what does that Zhang Naipeo man look like? Compared to the man in the picture? Chapter 22-24. That's it. The head protector said, they shouldn't be the same person, but perhaps they are related to the two people I'm looking for. Otherwise, why would they appear in the Wulong-Heot mountain range so coincidentally? Why would they suppress their strength to participate in this mission to capture the fire lion? Even if these two people aren't those two people, they should be related to them. The head protector had stayed in the Tagan family all these years for two important missions. One was to protect and teach Taganlong martial arts. When the time was right, there would be a huge mission for him to do. The other mission was to monitor the Wulong-Heot mountain range and monitor the two people in the photo. These two people were lucky enough to escape from the encirclement. Although the chances of their survival were very small, it didn't mean that they were dead without seeing their corpses. Moreover, the place behind the Great Protector did not wish for these two people to die. This was because their motive for exterminating the sect was to plunder a precious treasure from this ancient sect. However, this precious treasure was hidden away. They had swept through the entire sect, but they had not found it. Thus, the head protector stayed here to keep an eye on the two of them. If they didn't die, they would definitely return to search for the precious treasure. At that time, the head protector would be able to seize the precious treasure and kill the two of them. And now the head protector saw hope. Taganlong's information was very useful. If this person was really related to the two people from back then, he must have come to the Wulong-Heot mountain range for that treasure. Then the head protector could take advantage of them finding the treasure to make a move. Head protector, these two people. Are we just going to let them go? They still have the inner elixir of two spirit beasts. Taganlong said. Naturally, we won't let them go. However, you don't have to worry about this matter. I'll handle it myself. The head protector said, don't go out for a while. Stay at home and practice. With your image of a playboy, you can go out for a walk every once in a while. As long as you don't let others notice you, it'll be fine. Yes. Taganlong hurriedly said. He was very happy. If the Great Protector personally took action, then all the problems would be easily solved. The clan meeting ended very quickly. To put it bluntly, the reason why the Tagan clan was able to rise so quickly in Rueleda town wasn't because of the clan itself, nor was it because Ancestor Tagan was a Heaven Stage expert. In the Lu clan and the Shangguan clan, there were also Heaven Stage experts keeping watch. The reason why the Tagan clan was able to become the head of the three great clans was because of the Great Guardian. Furthermore, the entire family served the head protector and Taganlong. As the patriarch, Taganlong's authority was actually very small. To outsiders, he might look impressive on the surface, but when he returned home, his son Taganlong's authority in the family meetings was actually lower. The clan meetings were completely presided over by the head protector. The reason why the Tagan clan was favored by the head protector and the power behind him was that they had accidentally discovered Taganlong's special physique. This physique was just right for them to do something big. However, Taganlong didn't know the specifics. Even Taganlong himself didn't know. The only thing Taganlong knew was that once this matter was done, Taganlong's status would be even higher than the head protector's. His martial arts would also reach the peak. and the Tagan clan would become a first-rate clan. Of course, this was under the premise that the matter was done. If it couldn't be done, then these promises would just be empty words on a piece of paper. Moreover, that matter was extremely secretive, and Taganlong's identity could not be exposed in advance to prevent any accidents. Hence, under the suggestion of the head protector, Taganlong had thought of a good way to make Taganlong a foppish young master to deceive others. If Taganlong kept hiding in the clan and didn't show himself, it would definitely arouse the suspicions of the other powers in the town. Instead of that, it was better to let him show himself in public. Everyone knew that he was a playboy, but no one would think that he had another special identity. This was also the so-called Great Seclusion in the city. The Great Protector had disappeared after the meeting ended. However, the Tagan clan had played down this matter very much. They hadn't mentioned the whereabouts of the Great Protector. The failure to capture the Fire Lion had also been deliberately exaggerated by the Tagan clan, causing rumors to spread in the small town. The rumor seemed to be both true and false. During the encirclement of the spirit beasts, all the mistakes were blamed on Tagan Dragon. The 5 protectors, 8 protectors and 4 adventurers had all sacrificed their lives to protect Tagan Dragon. Hence, mocking laughter came from the other clans. This young Master Taganlong was really incompetent. Forget about being a playboy, he was actually such an idiot. Forget about the 4 adventurers, the 5 protectors and 8 protectors were the backbone of the Tagan clan. It was such a pity that they died. The news of Taganlong being grounded by Tagan Gao also spread, further confirming the previous rumors. This playboy young master had caused trouble. When Lin Yi opened his eyes again, the sky was already dark. Sun Jingyi, the skybolt pig and the big and small fire lions surrounded Lin Yi. The lioness had brought a lot of food. Although they were all wild fruits, they were all top-notch fruits with heaven and earth spiritual energy. Consuming them was beneficial to cultivation. Mr. Lin, you're the most amazing person I've ever seen. The great fire lion looked at Lin Yi, who had recovered and returned to his peak state, and was very surprised. In such a short period of time, your injuries have completely recovered, and your energy has also returned to its peak. Hee. Lin Yi smiled. Thank you for taking care of me while I was recuperating. It's nothing. It's what I should do. The great fire lion said, you should be hungry. Eat something. There are some exotic treasures here. After consuming them, you can quickly recover your strength, and it's also very beneficial to cultivation. Can you eat? I won't eat. Lin Yi had just recovered his strength, so he was not hungry at all. And then I won't stand on ceremony. Sun Jingyi had been hungry for a long time, but since Lin Yi had not recovered, she did not eat alone. Hearing Lin Yi say so, she naturally would not stand on ceremony anymore. Mr. Lin, you're not eating? The great fire lion was a little puzzled. My strength has already recovered to its peak. Do I still need to eat? Lin Yi smiled. Chapter 22-25. I understand. Lin Yi smiled. Thank you. However, in order to repay you, I have a manual of your human's martial arts. It was left behind by my contracted master. The great fire lion looked a little lonely. Your master? You were someone's contracted spiritual beast? Lin Yi's eyes widened. A few hundred years ago, yes. The great fire lion said, but he left to pursue a higher realm, which is the so-called heavenly Tao. Then he never came back. He was the former leader of an ancient sect here. Oh. Lin Yi sighed in amazement. Everyone wanted to pursue a higher level of martial arts, but how many of them actually succeeded in doing so? This martial art was once the sect's signature martial art. It was one of the best martial arts techniques for fire tribute cultivators. The great fire lion said, you're a mid-earth class master, so you should be able to practice up to the 5th form of this technique. As long as you practice up to the 5th form of this technique, you'll be able to activate the fiery bullet at the same time you use this technique. This will temporarily increase the power of your technique to the 10th form. Inferno bullet? What's that? Lin Yi had never heard of such a thing. It's a fire attribute attack weapon made from the breath of the Fire Lion clan. It's a one-time use weapon. The great Fire Lion said, in this mountain range our Fire Lion clan also has enemies. I don't have any, but the little Fire Lion and my spouse don't have any powerful attack power. They can only rely on the flaming god bombs I made to escape the enemy's attack. Lin Yi nodded. Takes me a long time to make this inferno bullet. Plus, it's a consumable, so I only have 3 finished products. You better use it sparingly. The Great Fire Lion said. After using the fireball, the 5th move of the martial arts technique is equal to the 10th move, and the 10th move is equal to the 15th move, and so on. There is no upper limit, but the lower limit is the 5th move. Only when it is activated together with the 5th move of the martial arts technique can it achieve the effect of the 10th move of the martial arts technique. Otherwise, this fireball cannot be used before the 5th move. So powerful? Lin Yi listened to the Great Fire Lion's explanation and couldn't help but click his tongue in amazement. This Firestream God Bullet could increase a martial skills level by 5 at once. That was equivalent to being able to fight against people of a higher level. That's right. However, the number of Stream Divine Fireballs is too low. Additionally, we need to keep 2 for ourselves in case of emergencies. Thus, we can only give you 3, Benefactor, said the Big Fire Lion with a slightly regretful tone. 3 is already quite a lot. Lin Yi wasn't a greedy person. He was already very lucky to have 3 of these magical items. If he had them before, he wouldn't have been in such a difficult situation when he fought against the 5 protectors. He just didn't know if that martial skill was easy to cultivate or not. As for what kind of martial skill it was, Lin Yi wasn't too worried. After all, Lin Yi had the experience of learning the Frenzy Fist and the 1,000 Changes of the Forest. He was still very confident in activating martial skills. However, Lin Yi could only activate up to the 4th form of martial skill. After advancing to Mid-Earth class, Lin Yi had also tried to activate the 5th form, the Frenzy Fist, and the 5th form, the 1,000 Changes of the Forest, but to no avail. As for the reason, Lin Yi guessed that it was because he hadn't consolidated his strength as a Mid-Earth class. But now it was different. Lin Yi had consolidated his strength as a Mid-Earth class. If he worked hard, he should be able to activate the 5th form of martial skill, right? This martial skill was left behind by my contracted master. There are a total of 30 forms. The Great Fire Lion was suddenly interrupted by Lin Yi. What? 30 forms? The Great Fire Lion's words immediately shattered Lin Yi's understanding. How can there be 30 forms? Aren't all martial skills in this world divided into 20 forms, regardless of whether they're superior, inferior, or not? It was no wonder that Lin Yi was surprised. When Faubert taught him martial skills, he had told him that the first 10 forms of martial skills could be activated by an Earth class, and the last 10 forms could be activated by a Heaven class. The martial skills he saw in the Hidden Han family also stopped at 20 forms. How could there suddenly be a 30-form martial skill from the Great Fire Lion? 20 forms. That's what most cultivators know. The first 10 forms of this martial art can only be used by those in the Earth rank, while the last 10 forms can only be used by those in the Heaven rank. Apart from my contracted master who accidentally discovered this secret, the rest of the people in this sect, including the previous sect masters, only knew about the 20 forms. Big Flame Lion nodded and said, "It's precisely because my contracted master discovered the last 10 forms of this martial art that he became even more fanatical in his pursuit of the realm after the Heaven rank. Because he was at the peak of the late Heaven rank, his bottleneck was the 20th form, and he couldn't activate the 21st form no matter what. But according to his research and analysis, from the 21st form onwards, martial skills step into a whole new realm, an unprecedented height. Of course, you can just treat what I'm telling you as anecdotes. There's no need to deliberately pursue anything." I understand. Lin Yi knew that the Great Fire Lion was warning him not to bite off more than he could chew. The reason why I haven't told the successor of this martial skill and the last 10 forms of this martial skill is also because I'm afraid that they'll bite off more than they can chew, or that they'll wholeheartedly pursue a higher level of martial arts and neglect the proper business. The Great Fire Lion said, "And the reason why I'm passing this martial skill to you is because there's no successor in this sect. I'm passing this martial skill to you in the hope that you'll pass it on in the future so that it won't be lost." Good. Before I reach the peak of the late Heaven class, I won't try to study the last 10 forms. Lin Yi nodded and promised. The Great Fire Lion nodded and then took out a thread-bound ancient book from a secret compartment in a corner of the cave. He handed it to Lin Yi and said, "I suggest you practice here. If you can practice to the 5th form before going up the mountain, that's the best. But if you can't, you can go up the mountain tomorrow morning. I won't stop you." Lin Yi couldn't wait to take the thread-bound secret book. However, he was shocked speechless by the 3 big words on the cover of the secret book. Because on the cover of the secret book was written, Frenzied Fire Fist. Chapter 22-26. Did these two Frenzy Fiery Fist martial skills have the same name, or were they originally the same one? Thinking of this, Lin Yi quickly opened the Frenzy Fiery Fist secret manual in his hands. With just one glance, Lin Yi was dumbstruck. It was actually exactly the same. It was exactly the same as the Frenzy Fiery Fist that Faubert had imparted to him. Not a single word was different. At least the mantra for the first 10 moves was exactly the same. What was going on? Lin Yi's mind went blank, a little messy. The few scattered things suddenly came together and it seemed like a miracle and a coincidence, but it wasn't a coincidence at all. Phew. Lin Yi took a deep breath and carefully recalled what Faubert had said. He was originally the young master of an ancient sect, but because of a treasure in the sect, his sect was exterminated. And on this Wulong Haut mountain range there used to be an ancient sect, but this ancient sect had now vanished into thin air. Was this a coincidence or an overlap? Big Fire Lion, may I ask, was the ancient sect on this Wulong Haut mountain range destroyed by someone? Lin Yi asked seriously. Oh, why are you asking this? A trace of vigilance flashed across the Big Fire Lion's eyes. What do you know? Nothing, I just want to confirm a fact. As Lin Yi spoke, he placed the Frenzy Fiery Fist secret manual that the Big Fire Lion had given him aside. Suddenly he activated his inner force mantra and began to activate the Frenzy Fiery Fist martial skill. From the first move he smoothly used it all the way to the fourth move. Then Lin Yi began to try activating the fifth move, but his attempt failed. However, even if he failed, Lin Yi was still pleasantly surprised. He could clearly feel the aura of the fifth style that was about to break out of his body. It was just that he was too impatient. He was eager to demonstrate his frenzied fire fist to the Great Flame Lion. He wanted to know the truth from the Great Flame Lion's mouth. In Lin Yi's mind, there was already an extremely shocking and bold conjecture. Moreover, this conjecture was gradually becoming clearer. If it could be confirmed, Lin Yi looked at Sun Jingyi with a complicated gaze. Frenzied Flame Fist. You actually know Frenzy Fist? The Great Fire Lion stared at Lin Yi in disbelief. What's your relationship with the sect on the mountain? That's right. You guys went to the upper vein to look for things according to the map. It must have something to do with the ancient sect in the upper vein. Why didn't I think of this? When the Great Fire Lion said this, a look of realization appeared on his face. Without the permission of Faubert and Grandma Sun, Lin Yi absolutely could not reveal their identities. Moreover, his enemy was unknown. If he exposed it, he was afraid that it would cause trouble. That's right. If the answer to my question is yes, then I have something to do with the people in this sect on the mountain. Lin Yi said. You're right. They were indeed exterminated. The Great Fire Lion sighed. So that's the case. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Then, didn't you help? I'm just the contractual spiritual beast of the previous sect leader of this sect. He's gone, so I have no obligation to protect the others in this sect. The Great Fire Lion shook his head and said, in this sect only he helped me. However, the rise and fall of a sect is a normal thing. He didn't ask me to help him protect this sect. Moreover, there were many heaven stage masters at that time. I was no match for them at all. Lin Yi nodded and hesitated for a moment. There were still some things that he didn't say. Now Lin Yi had basically confirmed 4 things. The first thing was that Faubert and Grandma Sun were the young sect leader and young madam of the ancient sect that was exterminated on the Wulong Haut Mountains. The second thing was that Sun Jingyi's parents. If Lin Yi was right, it should be Faubert and Grandma Sun. This point, when he thought of what Sun Yikai had told him about Sun Jingyi's background, he could basically confirm that Sun Jingyi was not a member of the Sun family. Her surname was changed after she returned to the Sun family. But at that time she was very young, so she was not very clear about these things. And she had such a map on her, and the location on the map was Faubert's sect, the Wulong Haut Mountains. Then the relationship between Sun Jingyi and Grandma Sun was basically obvious. No wonder Lin Yi saw that Grandma Sun and Sun Jingyi were very similar. At first Lin Yi didn't think much about it. Grandma Sun was a member of the Sun family, and Sun Jingyi was also a member of the Sun family. They were relatives and it was normal for them to look similar. But now it seemed that the third thing was another map. That map was given to him by the late-stage heaven-stage strange old man, but he called him Li. Faubert's current name was Li Fu, but that was his alias. His real name was Fu Li. Could this Liru be Faubert's master? If this was the case, then all the mysteries could be explained. He was Faubert's master, so naturally he had half of the map. Sun Jingyi was Faubert's daughter, so she also had half of the map. This world was really small. The fourth thing, which was also the most important, was that the thing on the map was not the relic left by Sun Jingyi's parents, but the treasure that caused the destruction of this sect. Sun Jingyi's parents were not dead, so there was no relic. The strange old man also mentioned that the thing on the map was a treasure. These four things gave Lin Yi a headache. Should he tell Sun Jingyi the truth? Although these were all Lin Yi's inferences and guesses, it was probably not far from the truth. After hesitating for a moment, Lin Yi still planned to go back and discuss it with Faubert and Grandma Sunday. Otherwise, it was not the right time to tell Sun Jingyi. Whether it was true or not, it would inevitably affect Sun Jingyi's mood. Secondly, Lin Yi still had to carefully consider this matter. The fourth style, if you work hard, the fifth style should not be a problem, Lin Yi said. I think there is no problem. The big fire lion nodded. Just now, your momentum was already out, but it was impatient. As long as you practice more, you should be able to successfully activate it in a few days. A few days. Lin Yi smiled and did not say anything more. Instead, he directly operated the internal cultivation method and began to activate the frenzy fist. Chapter 22-27. He was not demonstrating to the great fire lion, nor did he want to prove anything. Therefore he calmly executed the last style, the fifth style. An unprecedented hot flame turned into a beautiful fire dragon, bursting out from Lin Yi's right fist. The strong flame formed a fireball in the air and hit the stone wall of the cave. But Lin Yi's heart was filled with guilt as he unleashed this move. He knew the power of the first four moves of the frenzy fist, and now that he'd unleashed this move, the wall of the fire lion's cave would probably have a huge hole in it. The lion pounced at Lin Yi, opening its mouth and swallowing the fireball Lin Yi had sent out in one gulp. It was as if it had just had a full meal and it was very satisfied. That works too. After Lin Yi finished his move, he looked at the great fire lion with some surprise. This is energy for me, said the great fire lion. Energy. A bitter smile crossed the corner of Lin Yi's mouth. This thing can also be used as energy? Yes, with this energy plus my previous accumulation, I estimate that by the time you go down the mountain, I can still complete a fireball bomb, said the great fire lion. But to be honest, you can actually execute the fifth style of frenzy fist in such a short period of time. You are really a genius that I have seen in 1,000 years. Genius? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Whether he was a genius or not, Lin Yi was not sure, but the art of dragon mastery and the martial art that came with it were definitely a genius mental cultivation method and a genius martial art. At least I have never heard of anyone who can execute a new martial art in such a short period of time, said the great fire lion. I am going up the mountain tomorrow. How do I use this fireball bomb? Asked Lin Yi. You just need to hold it in your hand and activate it together with the fifth style, frenzy fist. The great fire lion explained how to use the inferno bomb. I thought you would stay here for a while, but you've already activated the fifth move, frenzied fire fist, so I won't hold you back. Careful. Thanks a lot, Lin Yi said sincerely. Not only did the great fire lion give him 3 Firestream God bombs, but Lin Yi's biggest gain was the Frenzied Fire Fist Martial Arts Manual. It turned out that this martial skill had 30 forms, not 20. You're welcome. Our Fire Lion clan will always remember your life-saving grace. If you need anything, you can come to the Wulong Haut mountain range to find us at any time, said the great Fire Lion. I can come back to get more stream fire magic bullets after I've used them up? Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat after listening to the big Fire Lion's words. Sure. The great fire lion nodded without hesitation. However, I'm afraid I can only make 1 more this year. Come back at this time next year, I can at least provide you with 3 more. Lin Yi did not expect the great fire lion to be so grateful. He was touched. Lin Yi helped the fire lion cub, but at the critical moment the great fire lion also helped him to deal with the 5 protectors. Moreover, he gave him 3 Firestream God bombs and a frenzied fire fist manual. This kindness had far exceeded what Lin Yi had given. Lin Yi only treated the fire lion cub when it was injured. The great fire lion's generosity was beyond Lin Yi's imagination. It seemed that the Fire Lion clan was really grateful for a drop of water. Forget it. Since you treat me like this, then I will also give your Fire Lion clan some benefits. Lin Yi quickly made up his mind. If I'm not wrong, the Fire Lion cub and the lioness haven't stepped into the yellow rank, right? That's right. The Great Fire Lion did not understand what Lin Yi was talking about, but when he heard Lin Yi's question he still answered truthfully. The lioness is just an ordinary lion with a higher aptitude and spiritual intelligence than a normal lion. There is still a gap between her and the Fire Lion clan. However, in our Fire Lion clan, I am the only one that has been passed down for thousands of years. If I want to reproduce, I can only find a lioness with a higher aptitude. The Fire Lion cub's bloodline is relatively pure, but the cultivation of us spiritual beasts relies on the consumption of heaven and earth treasures to accumulate. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth does not help us much in leveling up. These fruits and heaven and earth treasures for cultivation are limited in the Wulong mountain range. This is also the reason why our Fire Lion clan has conflicts with another spiritual beast clan. Lin Yi nodded. He knew this long ago. The Skybolt pig relied on swallowing heaven and earth treasures in the ancient tomb to level up. Little Fire Lion, come here for a moment. Although the Fire Lion cub was a little confused, it obediently ran over when Lin Yi called. Lin Yi carried it in his arms and entered the space of the jade pendant. He began to circulate the second level of the art of dragon mastery. Suddenly, pure and majestic energy poured into the Fire Lion cub's body. The Fire Lion cub was shocked. However, it soon realized that Lin Yi had no evil intentions. On the contrary, Lin Yi was using a very strange method to transfer true qi to it to level up. The Fire Lion cub's strength suddenly increased. Very soon, it broke through the threshold of the yellow rank and became an early yellow rank spiritual beast. The Fire Lion cub and the lioness felt the changes in the Fire Lion cub. When they saw that the Fire Lion cub had become an early yellow rank spiritual beast, they were immediately shocked. On the other hand, the Skybolt pig and Sun Jingyi weren't surprised. They knew Lin Yi's ability. Under the surprised gazes of the Fire Lion cub and the lioness, the Fire Lion cub's strength continued to soar. From the early yellow rank, it directly jumped to the peak of the early yellow rank. Then without stopping, it immediately entered the middle yellow rank. This kind of leveling speed scared the Fire Lion cub. It had lived for 1,000 years. Now that it had become a heaven-rank spiritual beast, it was also an existence that was very rare among spiritual beasts. After all, the current thin heaven and earth spiritual energy didn't have much effect on spiritual beasts. They could only level up by consuming large amounts of heaven and earth treasures. When the Fire Lion cub was young, it had several opportunities and swallowed a few top-grade heaven and earth treasures. That was why its strength was able to improve so quickly. Even so, it took 1,000 years to enter the heaven rank. And at this moment, it witnessed with its own eyes that its child, the Fire Lion cub, had suddenly become a middle yellow rank spiritual beast. No, it was now at the peak of the middle yellow rank. Very soon the Fire Lion cub discovered that the Fire Lion cub had become the late yellow rank and then the peak yellow rank. It looked at everything that was happening in front of it in disbelief. Was this real? Chapter 22-28. It was only half a step away from the early phase of mystic class. The lion knew exactly how much pure qi was needed for a spirit beast to level up. It was much more than a human practitioner. How much pure qi did Lin Yi use to level up the little Fire Lion? The lion knew that Lin Yi was touched by the passion of the Fire Lion clan and wanted to repay them. But there were many kinds of repayments and he didn't have to do this, right? After all, who didn't train hard to get their pure qi? If he gave it to someone else for no reason, wouldn't his own strength drop by a few levels? Thinking of this, Big Fire Lion wanted to stop Lin Yi, but he remembered that Lin Yi was working hard to transfer pure energy to the little Fire Lion. If he wasn't careful, it was very likely that all his previous efforts would be wasted, or he might even go crazy. So Big Fire Lion didn't dare to disturb Lin Yi. At the same time, the little Fire Lion had already entered Mystic class, becoming a Mystic class early phase spirit beast. And that wasn't the end of it. Lin Yi was still helping the little Fire Lion increase its strength. Peak early phase, mid phase, peak mid phase, late phase. Only when it reached the peak late phase did Lin Yi stop and let out a long sigh of relief. He put the little Fire Lion aside. Although the fire lion was in some pain when it broke through the armlet, the fire lion race had strong willpower. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to fight the 3 golden class masters to the end without any hesitation. My abilities are limited, I can only do this much. The peak late phase of mystic class is the limit of what I can give it. Lin Yi looked at the flabbergasted lion. This. Mr. Lin, you gave all your strength to the little fire lion, then you? The lion looked at Lin Yi hesitantly. I'm fine, I just need to rest for a while. Lin Yi said. Lioness, it's your turn now. The lioness was just a normal lion. If Lin Yi wasn't here, she might not even have the chance to enter the golden class, let alone level up. To put it bluntly, it was a problem with its bloodline. Its body didn't have the bloodline of an ancient spiritual beast. Even if it ate heavenly treasures and fruits every day, it would already be amazing if it could reach the golden class in this lifetime. Spiritual beasts were different from humans. Once they reached the yellow rank, their lifespan could be extended indefinitely. The great fire lion wanted the lionesses to step into the yellow rank, but he couldn't do whatever he wanted with their strength. After all ancient spiritual beasts were passed down from generation to generation. Their bloodlines would slowly evolve, and they couldn't become ancient spiritual beasts with just 1 or 2 generations. Due to the bloodline issue, the lioness training progress was already very slow. If the lioness couldn't enter the golden rank within a few decades, then she could only leave quietly. This was not what the great fire lion wanted to see. Therefore, when the great fire lion heard Lin Yi's words, it was extremely excited and surprised. Can it do it too? The great fire lion looked at Lin Yi hesitantly and reminded him, it doesn't have the bloodline of an ancient spiritual beast. After all, the great fire lion was afraid that Lin Yi would forget that a lioness wasn't an ancient spiritual beast. It was extremely difficult for a normal animal to enter the yellow rank compared to an ancient spiritual beast. Even though it was hard enough for ancient spiritual beasts to level up, it was basically impossible for ordinary animals. Otherwise, if it was so easy for normal animals to enter the yellow rank, spiritual beasts would have been everywhere in the world and wouldn't be so rare. Of course, no problem. Of course, without General Weiwu as a living example, Lin Yi wouldn't dare to guarantee it. But with General Weiwu as an example, Lin Yi was sure that after his own level up, the lioness would also become a fake ancient spiritual beast. After all, Lin Yi's art of dragon mastery and the space in the jade pendant were almost like a bug. He just needs to enter the yellow rank. She just needs to enter the yellow rank. The great fire lion looked at Lin Yi excitedly and knelt down in front of Lin Yi. He said to Lin Yi respectfully, Mr. Lin, you are the benefactor of my fire lion clan. A great benefactor. Although I already have a contract master, I swear that as long as Mr. Lin needs it, the Fire Lion clan will treat Mr. Lin like the contract master. Let's see the results first. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't think that the Fire Lion would be this agitated. He just felt that the help he'd given the Fire Lion clan was far from what he'd given them. That was why he'd helped the Fire Lions level up. As Lin Yi spoke, he squatted down and grabbed the lioness meridians. The lioness was relatively large, so it was impossible for Lin Yi to carry her like he did with the little fire lion. Although Lin Yi could carry her, Lin Yi felt that it was too much trouble. With the little fire lion as an example, although the lioness felt a strong and pure qi flowing into her body, she wasn't too surprised. Instead, she silently gritted her teeth and endured this internal force, expanding it back and forth in her meridians. The lioness was just an ordinary lion. Her meridians hadn't been completely expanded, so Lin Yi had to help her expand her meridians first. Fortunately, everything was automatically done by the second level of the art of dragon mastery, so Lin Yi didn't have to waste any brain power and energy. He just had to continuously circulate the second level of the art of dragon mastery in the space in the jade pendant. To put it bluntly, Lin Yi didn't gain or lose anything. He had been doing useless work. When his body was in the space, he acted as a medium and transferred the energy in the space in the jade pendant to the lioness. Yellow rank. The time it took for the lioness to enter the yellow rank was longer than the little fire lion. However, it still crossed this hurdle in the end. This was the most important hurdle in its life. As long as it entered the yellow rank, it meant that it had become a spirit beast. The lioness naturally knew what this meant. In the future, she could stay with the big fire lion for a long time, and she wouldn't leave before she saw the little fire lion grow up. She was very excited. The big fire lion and the little fire lion were also very excited. They didn't expect that the heart disease that had troubled them for many years would be easily resolved at this moment. After entering the yellow rank, the lioness's leveling speed was much faster. It was almost the same as the little fire lion's leveling speed. Very quickly she went from the early yellow rank to the peak of the early yellow rank, the middle yellow rank, the peak of the middle yellow rank, the late yellow rank, the peak of the late yellow rank. This kind of rapid leveling speed could be said to be unprecedented. The big fire lion didn't know what to say or how to express it in words. Even the little fire lion, who had endured Lin Yi's leveling up before, was shocked at this moment. Chapter 22-29. But seeing the lioness leveling up as quickly as it did in front of Lin Yi, the cub was dumbfounded. The lion and the cub looked at each other and saw the excitement in each other's eyes. They never thought that they would meet such a benefactor. Lin Yi helped the cub and the lion thought that Lin Yi was with the others on the surface. It wasn't good to thank him at that time, but it almost gave him a fatal injury. It was all thanks to the Skybolt pig's call for help, and the lion never thought that Lin Yi's help wasn't over. Fire lions knew how to repay favors, and the lion felt that Lin Yi had saved the little fire lion's life, and it couldn't thank him enough. As a result, it gave him the Firebolt and Frenzy Fist manuals. But Lin Yi gave them an even more powerful favor, which was unexpected for the lion and the cub. They all knew that it was very difficult for the lioness to level up to the early phase of the golden class, but Lin Yi had already turned her into a mystic class early phase spirit beast, and her strength was still skyrocketing. In the end, the lioness' strength was the same as the cub's at the peak of the late phase of the mystic class. This kind of strength, if there wasn't a fortuitous encounter, not to mention 1,000 years, even thousands of years might not be able to reach this level. The big fire lion had a fortuitous encounter, but it didn't mean that the cub and the lioness would also have a fortuitous encounter. So the fact that Lin Yi could raise their strength to the peak of the late phase of the mystic class made the whole family ecstatic. "It's done," Lin Yi said. "Thank you, benefactor," the big fire lion said solemnly. The cub and the lioness didn't know how to speak yet, but they could understand Lin Yi's words. Both of them prostrated on the ground, expressing their gratitude to Lin Yi with great sincerity. Early the next morning, Lin Yi bid farewell to the Fire Lion clan and prepared to go to the upper range of the Wulongheot mountain range. Although the Great Fire Lion knew that the upper range was potentially dangerous, he also knew that Lin Yi would not stop because of his dissuasion. He could only bid farewell to Lin Yi at the entrance of the cave. Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi, and Skybolt Pig walked towards the upper vein. As expected, after entering the upper vein, the scenery was completely different from the middle vein. There were not as many jungles and bushes in the upper mountains. Instead, there were rugged rocks and all kinds of broken walls. As for the mountain path, it was much easier to walk than before. There were clear stone steps leading to the top of the mountain. On the roadside, there were some dilapidated stone pavilions and some buildings that were so damaged that they could not be recognized. These all showed the past glory of this place. This was an important place of an ancient sect. Only by going to the top of the mountain will we be able to see the whole mountain, Lin Yi said as he looked at the map in his hand, and Sun Jingyi nodded. Although Sun Jingyi was not an ordinary cultivator, she was also similar to a cultivator. Her physical strength was quite good. The two of them almost didn't rest. They walked all the way up the mountain. They set off in the early morning and it was now noon. They were close to the top of the mountain. Of course, this was because Lin Yi considered Sun Jingyi's speed, so he deliberately slowed down his walking speed. Otherwise, if Lin Yi went up the mountain alone, his speed would probably be much faster than now. When the two of them stood at the top of the mountain, it was already afternoon. Looking at the magnificent walls and the ruined palace in front of them, Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi's hearts were full of emotions. There was probably a fierce battle here in the past, so it was destroyed to such a state. The original magnificent building was now in ruins. Lin Yi sighed and he felt a little strange. What kind of huge and terrifying force could destroy an ancient sect? Chapter 22-30. Even at the ancient level there were strong and weak sects, but overall the gap should not be too big. To be able to establish a sect here for thousands of years, it should not be a small sect. But to exterminate them just like that, it was simply inconceivable. And the most terrifying thing was, Faubert did not even know who the enemy was. Did he really not know, or did he not want to say? Thinking of this, Lin Yi frowned slightly. Even if the ancient Feng family was weaker and the Everyday After Sun sect was stronger, it did not mean that the Everyday After Sun sect could destroy the ancient sect. Not to mention the ancient level, even in the hidden level those hidden families wanted to suppress the hidden Han family, but this ancient sect was destroyed just like that? Just how powerful was the power that caused this? Moreover, this treasure, how useful must it be for a sect to be destroyed? This place, just from the outside you can tell how glorious it used to be. I didn't expect it to be destroyed like this. Sun Jingyi said with a sigh. Didn't Big Fire Lion say it? The rise and fall of sects is a common thing in the world. There is nothing to be sad about, Lin Yi advised. Sun Jingyi nodded, and the two of them walked through the gate of the sect. What they saw was all kinds of ruins. Houses, palaces, everything was broken and messy. It did not look like it was naturally damaged because no one took care of it. After all, this sect was destroyed only a few decades ago. How old was Faubert? How old was Sun Jingyi? Such a broken place without 100 years of disrepair, it was impossible. But it did not look like it was caused by a battle between two sides, but more like it was man-made. That's right, it was man-made. Thinking of the ruins he saw along the way, Lin Yi suddenly realized. Fu Bo's sect was exterminated because of that treasure. However, that treasure was hidden by the strange old lunatic. This group of bandits who came to exterminate the sect naturally didn't miss any corner in order to find that treasure. They searched everywhere, so it was normal for the inside to be destroyed to this extent. Since they could not find the treasure, smashing the buildings here was also in line with their mood. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi were standing in a grand hall at the highest point of the mountain. This grand hall was majestic, with some ancient Greek architectural style. The grand hall was like a huge pavilion supported by stone pillars. Under the feet were pieces of green bricks, and above there was a huge eave. However, everything here was made of stone. Thinking about it, this place should have been the place where the ancient sect gathered and practiced martial arts or held important activities. However, at this moment, there were broken walls everywhere, many stone pillars had fallen, and more than half of the main hall's roof had collapsed. But even so, it could not cover up the grandeur of this place. Standing in this grand hall, the topography of Wulong Haut mountain range could be said to be panoramic. Although they could not see clearly, the general outline was still very clear. Lin Yi took out the map and gave it to Sun Jingyi. Based on the position on the map, they began to determine their current location and destination. The map was scanned and printed by Sun Jingyi, so Lin Yi and her each had a copy. Gigi. As if feeling the majesty and magnificence of the grand hall, Skybolt Pig could not help but cry out loudly. Don't be noisy. Lin Yi was observing the topography. Even if Skybolt Pig was excited, Lin Yi would not care about it. Go play by yourself. GG. Skybolt Pig was a little wronged. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi each stood on one side, and based on the position on the map, they began to search. Wulong Haut mountain range was very big, especially the upper range, which was even more vast. Thinking about it, this upper range was once the most prosperous area in Wulong Haut mountain range. This continuous green mountain was the place where the disciples of this ancient sect cultivated, but in just one night, it was turned into ruins. To be able to establish a sect here was indeed a very great and fascinating thing. Although Lin Yi's eyesight was not bad and Sun Jingyi had also browsed the topography of Wulong Haut mountain range on the internet, it was not easy to find the exact location from this upper range. Because the map was very sloppy, there were no specific coordinates or landmark buildings. It was completely just a topographic map, so searching for it increased a lot of difficulty for Lin Yi. In the blink of an eye, the sun had almost set. Sun Jingyi sighed. It seemed that even if she was anxious, it was useless. Take a break for a while, eat something? You eat, I will look for it again. It seems that there is some progress. Lin Yi said, if we wait any longer, the sun will set. We have to make good use of this time. That's good, I will accompany you to find it. Sun Jingyi saw that Lin Yi did not eat, and she was embarrassed to eat alone, so she picked up the map and continued to search. I don't eat because I can cultivate, but you don't eat, aren't you hungry? Lin Yi looked at Sun Jingyi and smiled bitterly. You don't have to care about me. How can I do that? You're doing this to help me, how can I eat it? Jingyi insisted. Lin Yi had no choice but to seize the time to look at the terrain. Half an hour later, When Lin Yi's gaze moved from the farthest mountain range to the nearest mountain range, Lin Yi suddenly had a feeling of wanting to cry. Because Lin Yi suddenly found that the rough terrain marked on the map was exactly the same as the terrain at the top of the mountain under his feet. This made Lin Yi have a feeling that he had found the iron filings without any effort. Dare I ask where the road is? Chapter 2231. Oh. Sun Jingyi listened to Lin Yi's words and looked at the map in her hand in shock. She didn't know if she didn't look at it, but when she looked at it she was shocked. Just like what Lin Yi said, if the pillars and broken walls in the hall were removed, the shape under their feet really matched the map. However, when they entered the hall at the top of the mountain, everyone's first impression was probably the magnificence of the hall. They also paid attention to its spectacular appearance, but they ignored the green bricks under their feet. The shape formed by the green bricks, looking closely, was not regular because the top of the mountain was not regular. Therefore, even if the hall was built in a regular pattern, the green bricks were not regular and covered the entire top of the mountain. And the shape formed by this area was the picture on the map. Sure enough. It seems that it is so obvious, but we ignored it. Sun Jingyi smiled bitterly. I finally understand one thing: what is the most dangerous place is the safest. This is a hall, it is the most prominent place, and the location of the thing marked on the map is here. Lin Yi said in amazement. However, I think that anyone who comes here will unconsciously focus on this hall. Yes. Sun Jingyi said, if you didn't remind me I would continue to look around. Moreover, I searched from near to far, but even so, I ignored the hall under my feet. Instead, I started from the bottom of the mountain and expanded in all directions. Lin Yi nodded. Since we have determined the location, let's find the specific location according to the detailed map. And now that the sky is not completely dark, we can still use the afterglow of the sunset to search for a while. With a general direction, it is much easier to search again. Although the map is very rough, we can roughly determine the location from the map. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi worked hard together and quickly determined the general location on the map. Skybolt Pig. Lin Yi called Skybolt Pig, but he found that Skybolt Pig was lying on the green bricks not far away, looking very bored. Gigi. The Skybolt Pig called out weakly. Skybolt Pig, according to the map, this should be the area. Help me look around and see if there's anything hidden around here. Lin Yi asked Skybolt Pig. Gigi. The Skybolt Pig weakly called out twice and pointed at the ground with its paw. What do you mean? Lin Yi was stunned. Roar. The Skybolt Pig pointed at the green bricks under its feet with its front paw again. You mean, the thing is here? Lin Yi's eyes widened. Gigi. The Heavenly Thunder Pig nodded. So, you've already found it? Lin Yi suddenly remembered that when they arrived at the top of the mountain, the Skybolt Pig kept squeaking non-stop. Could it be that this little thing had already found it? Gigi. The Skybolt Pig nodded again. Fuck. Lin Yi was speechless. Then why didn't you say so earlier? Lin Yi was speechless. This little pig had already found the place when they first came up, but he thought it was excited, so he ignored it and let it play by itself. In the end, he and Sun Jingyi wasted half a day's effort and did a lot of useless work. Gigi. The Skybolt Pig pointed at its mouth and pointed at the green bricks with its paw. Then it shook its head. Lin Yi understood what it meant. The Skybolt Pig meant that it couldn't speak, and the green bricks were very hard, so it couldn't write on them. Lin Yi sighed at the Skybolt Pig's action. He looked at Sun Jingyi with an awkward gaze. This was his mistake which led to the current situation. If Lin Yi paid more attention to the Skybolt Pig, maybe he wouldn't have to put in so much effort. It's not your fault, I didn't pay attention at the time. Sun Jingyi didn't know whether to laugh or cry about this. The Skybolt Pig actually found the target from the start, while she and Lin Yi foolishly wasted a lot of time. But it's a good thing to be able to find it. In the end, everything went smoothly and there were no accidents. That's true. Lin Yi nodded. On the top of the mountain, Lin Yi was most afraid of the appearance of the Heaven Rank Master that the Great Fire Lion mentioned. But now the whole mountain was quiet. Other than him and Sun Jingyi, there was no one else. Lin Yi squatted down and carefully pried up the green brick that the Skybolt Pig pointed at. For an Earth Rank Master like Lin Yi, this was an easy thing to do. But after he pried up the brick, there was only mud below, and there was no hidden compartment. Are you sure it's here? There's nothing here? Lin Yi looked at the bottom of the green brick with some doubt. Did you? The Skybolt pig nodded with certainty. He stretched out his front paw and pointed at the bottom of the green brick, indicating to Lin Yi that the thing was below, but it might be under the mud. Since the Skybolt pig was so sure, then Lin Yi didn't say anything more. He picked up his hands and started to dig. This kind of hard mud was not difficult for Lin Yi, he just needed to use his hands to dig. However, after digging a few times, Lin Yi didn't feel anything strange. But since the Skybolt pig was so confident, then Lin Yi continued to dig. After digging for about 30 centimeters, Lin Yi's hand touched a hard object. It seemed to be a metal box. Lin Yi's heart was happy. There was really something there. He quickly increased his digging speed and dug out the thing quickly. This was a very plain-looking metal box. It didn't have the slightest bit of magnificence, but it could be seen that the workmanship of this metal box was very good. There was also a sealing tape at the gap to prevent the inside from soaking in water. You found it already? Sun Jingyi looked at the small metal box in Lin Yi's hand. She was suddenly surprised and happy, and her heart was very excited. The secret of her parents that she had been looking forward to and fantasizing about for so many years could perhaps be solved through this small metal box. Just when Lin Yi wanted to say something, the jade pendant on his chest suddenly sent out a warning signal. Danger. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He didn't expect that what should come would finally come. Originally, Lin Yi thought that although this trip to the Wulonghout Mountains was bumpy, the final result would be good. But what Lin Yi didn't expect was that this wasn't the end. Perhaps the danger and battle had just begun. Chapter 2232. After that, Lin Yi stuffed the iron box into Sun Jingyi's arms. I'll go meet the enemy later. Protect yourself carefully. See how many enemies there are. If there's only one, you can run to the Great Fire Lion to take refuge. Don't worry about me. Sun Jingyi wanted to say, how can I do that? How can I run away alone? But seeing Lin Yi's determined gaze, Sun Jingyi sighed and didn't say anything. He was extremely nervous. She didn't expect that the enemy would come at this time when they found the thing. Really is you guys. A deafening laughter came, making people feel uncomfortable. You guys, you made me wait for a long time. It's been more than 10 years I've been waiting here, waiting day and night, hoping for the stars and the moon. But in the end I wasn't disappointed. In the end someone still appeared here. Who are you? Lin Yi's cold gaze swept towards the direction of the voice. The one who came had ill intentions and the kind didn't come. Before, Lin Yi didn't notice that there was someone on the mountain, so there were only two possibilities. One was that this person had just arrived, and the second was that this person's strength was much higher than Lin Yi's, and he was good at hiding his strength. Moreover, before Lin Yi found the thing, he didn't show any hostility. If it was the second possibility, then the enemy in front of him was a very scary one. But Lin Yi also knew that the possibility of the second possibility was much higher than the first. You don't need to know who I am. The figure of the person who came quickly floated over and appeared 10 feet away from Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi. He was wearing a black bagua robe and his attire was as strange as it could be. He was about 40 years old, and from the aura he emitted, Lin Yi could see his strength. An early-stage heaven-class master. However, although he was only an early-stage heaven-class master, Lin Yi could clearly feel that he was different from the early-stage heaven-class masters from the hidden aristocratic families. Compared to this heaven-rank initial-stage expert, those hidden aristocratic families' heaven-rank initial-stage experts were simply too weak. Although their strength levels were the same, their auras were completely different. This person was a formidable opponent. In this situation, Lin Yi didn't have any doubts. Most of the heaven-rank experts of the hidden aristocratic families relied on pills or natural treasures to forcefully increase their strength. Those who truly relied on themselves to break through were few and far between. And this person in front of him definitely relied on his own strength to break through to heaven rank. This was just like how if Lin Yi and an expert of the same rank were together, Lin Yi could instantly kill an 8th protector of the same rank, but the 8th protector would definitely not be able to instantly kill Lin Yi. This was the same principle. Which force do you represent? Lin Yi asked faintly. Were you the ones who destroyed the ancient sects here? If Lin Yi's guess was correct, then Lin Yi could more or less determine the identity of this early-stage heaven rank expert. You're quite smart. The early-stage heaven rank expert said faintly. He was the Tagan family's great protector. Of course, whether it was this identity or his true identity, he wouldn't tell Lin Yi. Even if Lin Yi was only a person who was about to die in his eyes, he still couldn't casually say anything about that place. However, many smart people have short lives. The great protector didn't answer Lin Yi's question and instead said, "Hand over all the good things on you and I'll leave your corpse intact." Everyone knows how to talk big. If you want the things in my hands, you'll have to beat me first. When Lin Yi said this, his confidence was clearly lacking. At that time in the hidden aristocratic families meeting, he had deceived those early-stage heaven-rank old fellows to the point that they didn't dare to make a move. He created the illusion that he was invincible under heaven rank and could even contend against heaven rank experts. However, this person in front of him, Lin Yi could feel that he wasn't as timid as those heaven rank old fellows. This person was definitely a ruthless character. Beat you? An Earth rank mid-stage expert dares to say this in front of me? You're really overestimating yourself. The great protector looked at Lin Yi with some ridicule. Obediently hand over the things on you and I can guarantee that your woman won't die. At this moment the great protector also clearly saw Sun Jingyi. At this moment he could conclude that this person wasn't the person they were looking for back then, but someone who looked somewhat similar. But even so, this person was definitely related to that person back then. Therefore, the great protector couldn't make the decision and had to bring her back to that place and let those higher-ups decide. Since that's the case, then you can go die, old thing. As Lin Yi said this, he threw a true energy bomb over. Then he also threw the fifth style of frenzy fist together with the Firestream God bullet. Boom! A thunderous sound rang out in front of the great protector's chest. Then Lin Yi also threw the fifth style of frenzy fist towards the great protector's chest. Since this guy had appeared in front of him, Lin Yi couldn't avoid fighting him. Therefore Lin Yi's first move was a killer move, leaving no room for maneuver. Lin Yi definitely couldn't outrun a heaven rank expert. No matter how exquisite Lin Yi's movement technique was, he still wasn't a heaven rank expert's opponent. In front of an earth rank expert or those heaven rank old fellows from the hidden families, Lin Yi had the confidence to escape. But against someone like the great protector, Lin Yi had no confidence at all. They came and went like the wind, similar to Aunt Ching and Little Miss Rock Candy that he saw in the Ice Palace. They were real heaven stage experts, completely different from those heaven stage experts who used elixirs and heavenly treasures to improve without actual combat experience. Especially with Sun Jingyi by his side, Lin Yi couldn't escape alone, so he could only fight with the great protector. The great protector didn't expect that an expert of Lin Yi's level would dare to attack a heaven rank expert. This made him shocked and angry. Although Lin Yi's attack wouldn't cause too much damage to him, he was still very angry. This was Lin Yi's contempt towards him. Previously, the great protector already knew what happened when they surrounded the fire lion at the foot of the mountain range. Although Lin Yi took advantage of the 8th protector's unpreparedness and killed the 8th protector, he was beaten up by the 5th protector like a ball. If it wasn't for the fire lion, Lin Yi would have been kicked to death. Chapter 2233. This also caused Lin Yi's attack to hit the bodyguard. Not only did the energy bomb explode on the bodyguard's chest, Lin Yi's fifth form of Frenzy Fist combined with the Inferno God Bomb also hit the bodyguard's body. By the time the bodyguard used his chi to protect his body, it was already too late. He was still injured by Lin Yi. Although it was a light injury, it was a great humiliation to the bodyguard. The guard's face was filled with hatred and anger, his red eyes staring at Lin Yi. His chest was in turmoil from Lin Yi's attack, and he needed to circulate his practitioner's arts to calm it down. He said with a savage face, "Good, very good. Kid, I've underestimated you. You can actually use such a powerful technique. If I'm not wrong, this technique of yours already has the power of the 11th form, right?" Lin Yi didn't think that his full power attack would only cause the bodyguard's blood to surge. It was just a breath's time and the bodyguard returned to normal. Lin Yi's heart sank. He was still a little too weak. The hidden noble house meeting made Lin Yi's confidence expand to the limit. But after coming to the Wulong Haut mountain range, he was hit again and again. "It's fine if you don't tell me. I don't want to know your secret." The bodyguard said faintly, "I have to say, among the young generation, you do have some skills. But you dying by my hand is not an injustice. Even if you're the pride of an ancient sect, it's not an injustice. Why are you fine? My move just now was equivalent to the 11th martial skill. You are an early stage heaven stage expert. At most, you can only use the 11th martial skill. Even if you use true chi to protect your body, it is impossible for you to be unharmed, right? This was what Lin Yi didn't understand the most. When Su Shirhan and Qing Yi were attacked, he fought with the Earth-class black-clothed man. The black-clothed man's strength was even higher, but he couldn't withstand Lin Yi's technique. But this person in front of him didn't seem to be injured at all. You really want to know? The head protector faintly smiled and said, then there's no harm in telling you. I'll let you die knowing. This move of yours has power and momentum, but your true strength is lacking. You only relied on unorthodox methods to increase your strength. The strength of your true chi is far from enough. You might be able to deal with ordinary heaven rank initial phase experts, but you're out of luck to meet me. After listening to the head protector's words, Lin Yi's expression suddenly changed. He didn't expect things to develop to this point. This was the most difficult and headache-inducing battle for Lin Yi. Before the fight even started, Lin Yi already wanted to retreat. If what the head protector said was true, then Lin Yi really wasn't his match. Hey, since you're so confident, why don't you take 5 of my moves? If you can take 5 of my moves, I'll give you the item and you can do whatever you want with it. Lin Yi hesitated for a moment before saying with some reluctance. Lin Yi's suggestion stunned the head protector. He didn't expect that Lin Yi would make such a strange request at this time. However, it had to be said that Lin Yi's suggestion made the head protector a little tempted. Although Lin Yi was nothing in his eyes and taking Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi's lives was as easy as turning over his palm, he was afraid that Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi would run away separately. If Sun Jingyi ran away, he would definitely chase after her. However, if Lin Yi ran away, there would be some variables. If Lin Yi really ran away with the inner elixir of the 2 spirit beasts and ran to the great flame lion's side, then he really wouldn't be able to do anything. Of course, the treasure in Sun Jingyi's hands was much more important than the inner elixir of the spirit beasts. However, the head protector didn't want to miss out on Lin Yi's inner elixir. The head protector nodded slowly at this thought and said, "Alright, in that case, how about I take 5 of your moves?" "Alright, then I'm going to make my move." Lin Yi relaxed and started to compress the energy bomb. On the surface, Lin Yi seemed to be dawdling as if he was executing a move. "Are you going to make your move?" The head protector frowned when he saw that Lin Yi wasn't making his move and asked impatiently, "Of course I'm going to make my move. Shouldn't I take some time to prepare? My previous swift and fierce attack didn't do anything to you. This time I'll have to prepare more and come up with a ruthless move." Lin Yi said. "Hurry up." The head protector coldly snorted. "Come up with a ruthless move?" Although he didn't know what Lin Yi was dawdling about, he thought that Lin Yi probably wanted to take advantage of the head protector's unprepared and attack him. However, the head protector sneered in his heart. "Do you think you can sneak attack a heaven stage expert just because you want to?" Lin Yi said. The head protector was somewhat speechless. He thought, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm afraid of trouble and that you'll run away with the inner elixir of the spirit beasts, I wouldn't be bothered to play this game with you. However, Lin Yi was still standing there unhurriedly. It seemed like he was about to make a move, but it also seemed like he wasn't. No one knew what he was doing. Sun Jingyi was worried. She wanted to let the heavenly thunder pig inform the great flame lion to come up and help. However, when she thought of what the great flame lion had said before, she gave up on this plan. If the great flame lion could accompany them up the mountain, it would have already accompanied them. It didn't come up naturally because it had its own difficulties. Therefore, Sun Jingyi couldn't force it. She could only look at Lin Yi very worriedly. Chapter 2234. Then he continued, "I was injured yesterday and it was very serious. You also know that the move I used on you just now has consumed a lot of my energy, so I need to recover." "Then hurry up." The guard naturally knew about Lin Yi's injury. After hearing what he said, he felt that it was reasonable, so he nodded. "Got it." Lin Yi responded faintly, but he was sure of his guess in his heart. This person was most likely sent by Tagan Long. Lin Yi also had some plans for him to appear here at this moment. Yesterday, only Tagan Long and Shiraz knew about Lin Yi's injury. The others were all dead. Just now, when Lin Yi mentioned that he was injured yesterday, the guard didn't look surprised. Instead, he looked like he understood, which indirectly proved that he knew about this news. Now, the only thing that Lin Yi wasn't sure about was the relationship between this guard and the Tagan family. In Lin Yi's opinion, the Tagan family shouldn't have the ability to destroy the ancient sect that Faubert was in. They couldn't even deal with a small fire lion, let alone a huge ancient sect. However, if Faubert's sect wasn't destroyed by them, where did this guard come from? How did he know about the treasure? The only explanation was that the Tagan family and Faubert's enemies were inextricably linked. The guard waited for another 10 minutes or so and finally couldn't take it anymore. Kid, are you done yet? If you don't make a move, I'll personally send you on your way. Lin Yi sighed in his heart. He was still far from it. He had only condensed 1/3 of the energy. This energy bomb could probably cause fatal damage to the 5 guards yesterday, but Lin Yi didn't have the slightest confidence in dealing with this person in front of him. However, on the surface, Lin Yi nodded solemnly and said, "Here it comes. Take this. Frenzy Fist, first form." As he spoke, Lin Yi struck out with the first form of Frenzy Fist. However, this form was only practiced in the air and did not attack the Great Protector at all. Moreover, Lin Yi tried his best to slow down the speed of his punches without affecting the progress and power of his Frenzy Fist. Meanwhile, Lin Yi's left hand was still continuously compressing the energy bomb. When the guard heard that Lin Yi was about to use his martial skill, he didn't retaliate. He just used his Jin Qi to protect his body. He said 5 moves, so 5 moves. He was a sky-class master and one that came from that place. How could he go back on his words to a little earth-class master? Therefore, the head protector had no intention of counterattacking. Instead, he was prepared to receive Lin Yi's attack head-on. However, when he was ready, Lin Yi directly hit the air, making the guards speechless for a while. Was this guy crazy? After preparing for a long time, he practiced a move in the air. Even so, the head protector didn't pay attention to Lin Yi. As Lin Yi's figure shuttled back and forth, there were 2 loud sounds. It was the true Qi Bomb and the 5th form of Frenzy Fist, combined with the Firebolt God's Bullet to form an even more powerful 11th form. A mouthful of blood spurted from the head protector's mouth. He looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. He couldn't believe that he was actually injured by a small mid-earth class master. To be able to break through his true Qi protection, even an ordinary master of the same level would have some difficulty. However, Lin Yi had successfully broken through his true Qi protection and actually injured him. After Lin Yi's attack, he didn't stop. Instead, he used the 5th form of Forest Phantom Thousand Changes again. 2 fists turned into 10 fists, and all of them landed solidly on the head protector's chest that Lin Yi's true Qi bomb had broken open. Although these 10 fists weren't as powerful as the 5th form of Frenzy Fist combined with the Firebolt God's Bullet, the Frenzy Fist could only display its great power when it was completed in one go. If it was used alone, it might not be as effective as the Forest Phantom Thousand Changes. Chapter 2235. After the 10 punches, Lin Yi looked at the Great Guardian who had recovered from his shock. He immediately turned around and quickly retreated. He didn't want to have a direct confrontation with the Great Guardian. The frenzied fire fist combined with the flaming god bombs had already injured the Great Guardian. The 10 punches that followed made the blood in his chest rise, and he spat out another mouthful of blood. However, this kind of injury was only a minor one. It really couldn't hurt the Great Guardian. Even so, the Great Guardian's face was very gloomy. He raised his hand and used his sleeve to wipe off the blood at the corner of his mouth. He looked at Lin Yi coldly. "Very good, you have some skills. However, it's just so. Hey old thing, it doesn't feel good, does it?" Lin Yi sneered at the Great Guardian, but his mind was racing. "Can I take this opportunity to escape? What are the chances of success? Your last move, if I'm not wrong, should be 3 moves. The Great Guardian wasn't stupid. After a careful analysis, he could see that when Lin Yi attacked, he actually used 3 moves. Lin Yi frowned slightly. This Great Guardian wasn't stupid either. He could actually separate the vital energy bomb, the frenzied fire fist, and the ever-changing wood forest. Can't I use them at the same time? Alright, I won't argue with you about this, the Great Guardian said coldly. I'm finished with your moves. Shouldn't you hand over the item with both hands? The item? I've said it before. If you want it, come and get it yourself. Lin Yi said. What? You didn't keep your word. Are you trying to cheat me? The great guardian's face suddenly became ugly. Cheat? When did I cheat you? Old thing, I've never treated you as a human. I only treated you as an old dog. Lin Yi laughed and secretly gave Sun Jingyi a look, asking her and Sky Thunder Pig to find a chance to escape. Just now Lin Yi had used all of his strength and it could be said that he had used all of his skills, but he still could not do anything to the great guardian. Although the Zhenqi bomb had not been completely compressed, Lin Yi did not have the time to do anything to this old thing. The gap in strength between him and a heaven stage expert was not something that could be made up for with a few exquisite martial skills and ordinary trump cards. Good, very good. Since that's the case, then don't blame this old man for being impolite. The head protector was furious. Yes, he was truly furious. He was angry that Lin Yi did not keep his word and actually went back on his word. He was a master who came from that place and often boasted that he was the orthodox of the martial arts world. Even when he destroyed the sects there, he found a high-sounding excuse. So when he promised Lin Yi 5 moves, he gave Lin Yi 5 moves. But he did not expect a junior to dare to do this to him. When he said this, his ashen face surged with a trace of blood, filled with sharp killing intent. Although Sun Jingyi did not want to abandon Lin Yi and escape, but she had no choice but to do so. Didn't Lin Yi risk his life to protect this small box in her arms? If this small box was snatched away, then all of Lin Yi's efforts would be wasted. And if she stayed here, she would definitely become Lin Yi's burden. So, under Lin Yi's hint, Sun Jingyi turned around and wanted to escape. Want to run? Stay behind together. The head protector was really angry. Previously, he had not intended to hurt Sun Jingyi. He had planned to capture her and let the higher-ups deal with her. However, if Sun Jingyi ran away, he might have to destroy a flower and injure Sun Jingyi first. After the head protector finished speaking, his eyes instantly narrowed. A strong and powerful vital energy emerged from his body. His body also turned into an afterimage, pressing towards Sun Jingyi with an oppressive pressure. The 8 trigrams robe on his body swelled up under the effect of the vital energy and emitted a buzzing sound. It was obvious that he was really angry and did not hold back at all. Lin Yi had not expected that the head protector would give up on him and directly attack the escaping Sun Jingyi. He could not help but frown. It seemed that his plan was wrong. No matter how angry the head protector was, he did not lose his composure and still remembered Lin Yi's purpose. It seemed that his plan to let Sun Jingyi escape alone during the chaos would not work. The head protector did not fall for Lin Yi's trick at all. His eyes were fixed on the box in Sun Jingyi's arms, followed by the 2 spiritual beast essence cores on Lin Yi's body. The spiritual beast essence cores were just a small toy for Tagan Dragon to show off. It did not matter whether he had it or not. As long as he got this box and handed it over to that place, it would probably be very easy to get a few spiritual beast essence cores as a reward. Lin Yi didn't have a choice, he had no choice but to take it head-on. He tapped his feet on the ground and with a sharp burst of energy, his body turned into a blur of lightning as he stood in front of Jingyi. Fortunately, Lin Yi had experience as an assassin in the past. Relying on his exquisite footwork, he was not weaker than the head protector in front of him. However, although Lin Yi managed to block it, 2 muffled bangs were heard from Lin Yi's chest and abdomen. Lin Yi's entire body was sent flying by the head protector and he landed heavily on the ground. Brat, I haven't even used my martial arts yet. Are you already so weak? The head protector stared coldly at Lin Yi on the ground and said, An expert in the early stage of heaven rank only has this much strength. Lin Yi stood up from the ground. To be honest, the head protector's move without using any martial arts skills was not inferior to the 5th protector's 10th martial arts skill yesterday. However, Lin Yi did not resist. Instead, he used all his true chi to protect his body. When he was sent flying, he entered the space of the jade pendant to quickly heal his injuries. Even so, Lin Yi knew that he could not last long. Therefore, Lin Yi had to think of a way. Otherwise, he was afraid that he would die here today. Glancing at Sun Jingyi, who was holding the box, Lin Yi had a rough idea of what to do. When Sun Jingyi was escaping, the head protector attacked Sun Jingyi. It could be seen that the head protector's main target was the box in Sun Jingyi's arms. If Lin Yi took the box in Sun Jingyi's hands and ran all the way to the Great Fire Lion's cave, what were the chances of him winning? Although Lin Yi had exquisite footwork, Lin Yi was not 100% sure that he could escape. However, what if he gritted his teeth and did not care about the price? He would leave his back to the head protector and ignore his attacks. As long as he held his breath and continued to use the true qi in the space of the jade pendant to heal his injuries, he would not defend and run all the way. In this case, the head protector's chances had become 50-50. As long as Lin Yi did not fall and kept running, he could hold on until he reached the Great Fire Lion's cave. However, if the head protector could not catch Lin Yi, could he turn around and deal with Sun Jingyi? Chapter 2236. Although the guard had said that according to the rules, the spirit beasts couldn't go to the upper ridges, but the middle ridges were the spirit beasts' territory. If humans came to the middle ridges, would the spirit beasts let them go? Thinking of this, Lin Yi took a deep breath and prepared to run. But the guard seemed to have seen through Lin Yi's thoughts and said coldly, "Kid, don't even think about running. If you dare to run, I'll kill your female companion first and then go after you." The guard saw through Lin Yi's fear and directly threatened him. Despicable. Lin Yi spat out 2 words. He didn't think that the guard would see through his plan. But although Lin Yi was unhappy, there was nothing he could do. Regardless of whether the guard was telling the truth or not, Lin Yi didn't dare to try. A man with a small heart is not a gentleman. A man with venom is not a gentleman. The guard said disapprovingly, "I originally wanted to leave your corpse intact, but you've made me lose my patience. Kid, you can go die now." The guard raised his hand and a soft whip appeared in his hand. Lin Yi took a deep breath. He had heard that the sky-class martial skills could be used with a weapon, greatly increasing the power. But Lin Yi had never seen it before. He didn't think that the first time he would see it would be here. And before, the guard's attack without any martial skills was already too much for Lin Yi to handle. Although Lin Yi's injuries were mostly healed, he didn't think that this guy would directly take out a weapon. Lin Yi's mouth twitched. His luck was really bad. Ever since he arrived at the Wulong Haut Mountains, he had lost again and again. Could it be that his luck was too good before, and his luck had been so good that it had been used up during the hidden house meeting? Against an Earth-class mid-phase, do I still need a weapon? Lin Yi took a deep breath. The head guard didn't pay attention to Lin Yi. He could see that the boy in front of him was very cunning and wouldn't let go of any opportunity to turn the tables. Since that was the case, he didn't hold back. He suddenly raised the whip, which was suddenly wrapped in a layer of cyan Jin Qi, and quickly lashed at Lin Yi. Furious sea raging waves, first style. A majestic aura smashed towards Lin Yi. Lin Yi was suddenly shocked and did not dare to meet it. He carried Sun Jingyi, who was behind him, and operated his inner force cultivation method to protect himself and Sun Jingyi with his true qi. He quickly turned his feet and dodged to the side. Boom. The whip lashed at the place where Lin Yi had just been standing. The huge force smashed into the cyan brick and made a loud sound. The cyan brick was also sent flying by the huge force and it broke into pieces. The original place where the cyan brick had been was now a huge pit. Even though Lin Yi had dodged fast enough, he still staggered from the force of the whip. The clothes on his right arm were torn, and there was a deep cut on his arm revealing the bone. It was a mess of flesh and blood. Too strong. That was the only thought in Lin Yi's mind. He had already dodged it, and it was under the situation where he was protected by Jin Qi, but the force of the whip had still caused him to suffer such a serious injury. What if he had been hit by the whip? Perhaps it was as the Great Guardian said. If he had been hit, it would have been a fatal blow and he would have stayed here forever. Dust filled the air. Feeling that his right arm had almost lost all feeling, Lin Yi's face turned serious. A heaven-rank early-stage expert, such a terrifying ability. It was unknown how many times stronger than Lin Yi's Earth-rank middle stage. This made Lin Yi feel even more bitter in his heart. You dodged fast. The Great Guardian sneered. That move just now he did not aim at all. It was just a random attack. He did not care about it and only said mockingly, "This old man will also play a game with you. This old man will whip you 5 times. If you can block it, then this old man will let you go. How about it?" The corner of Lin Yi's mouth twitched. This old thing obviously wanted to play a monkey. That was only the first style of martial arts. With the activation of his heaven-rank early-stage strength and the soft whip weapon, it had already released a shocking power. If this guy used his strongest move, would he still be alive? Not to mention 5 moves, Lin Yi might not be able to dodge another one. Alright. It's a deal. Although he knew that this old thing was playing with him at this time, he had no choice but to bite the bullet. Don't die too quickly, that would be too boring. The great guardian retracted his soft whip and raised his head to look at Lin Yi with a sinister smile. His right hand suddenly raised again, his body moved slightly, and he shouted, "Raging waves of the sea, 11th style." Fuck. Hearing the great guardian's shout, Lin Yi was so angry that he almost spat out blood. Just now it was the 1st style and now it was the 11th style? One had to know that the strongest martial arts of a heaven-rank early-stage expert was probably the 11th style. This guy clearly wanted to take his life in one move. Subconsciously, the first thought that came to Lin Yi's mind was to run. This thing couldn't be blocked head-on. If he did, he would definitely die. Therefore Lin Yi once again used that miraculous footwork. However, he didn't expect that this time, the great guardian seemed to want to kill him. That soft whip was like a maggot in a tarsal bone. No matter where Lin Yi dodged, it would sweep there, not giving Lin Yi any chance to hide. Looking at the sharp killing intent in the great guardian's eyes, Lin Yi was infuriated. Old thing, wait for this young master to make a comeback, I'll kill you first. In this battle Lin Yi was too aggrieved. Fighting with someone who was several times stronger than him, the strength of both sides was simply unequal. Even if Lin Yi used all his skills, he couldn't do anything to the guy in front of him. However, Lin Yi had no room to turn back at this time. He desperately picked up Sun Jingyi and forcefully threw her into the air. He didn't care where he could throw Sun Jingyi to. He couldn't dodge this whip, so he could only take it head-on. He estimated that if he took a hit, he wouldn't die immediately. But it was hard to say for Sun Jingyi. Even if she didn't die after being whipped, she wouldn't be any better. Bang! Just at the moment when Lin Yi threw Sun Jingyi, the whip also hit his face and directly hit Lin Yi's chest. Lin Yi felt a sweetness in his throat and spat out a mouthful of blood. He staggered back 2 steps and fell to the ground with a pale face. The power of this whip was too strong. Even though Lin Yi had used enough true qi to protect his body, he already felt that all the ribs in his chest were broken, and more than half of his internal organs were injured. If he hadn't used the momentum of landing to divert some of the force to the green bricks under his feet, his injuries would probably have been more serious. Even so, the green bricks under Lin Yi's feet had already been shattered by Lin Yi. Chapter 2237. It was just that the injury was too serious and couldn't be healed in a short time. If it wasn't for the fact that Lin Yi was still hanging on to his last breath, any other practitioner would have died in an instant. Fortunately, Lin Yi had the Jade Space as a rescue kit, allowing Lin Yi to heal his injuries at any time. Not dead. The guard was a little surprised. This Earth-class mid-stage master in front of him really made him look at him in a new light. Whether it was the strength of his moves or the endurance of his injuries, he was much stronger than other masters of the same level. However, the more this kind of person was, the heavier the guard's killing intent was. Once this person grew up, he would definitely hold a grudge and seek revenge. There seemed to be a few levels between Earth-class mid-stage and Heaven-class early-stage, but Lin Yi was such a young Earth-class mid-stage. Who could guarantee that he wouldn't step into Heaven-class within a few years? Once Lin Yi stepped into Heaven-class, then the guard's advantage would be gone. If Lin Yi could still fight above his level, then the guard's life would be taken sooner or later. So, in order to prevent this situation from happening, the guard decided to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. No matter what, he had to kill Lin Yi. Sun Jingyi looked at the miserable Lin Yi on the ground. Her heart felt like it was smashed by a sledgehammer. Heartache, regret. She really regretted coming here. She shouldn't have explored her parents' secret. She shouldn't have brought Lin Yi along. In order to protect her, he didn't hesitate to lose his life. How could she repay him? However, Sun Jingyi knew that if Lin Yi died, the next one would be her. Forget it, I can't repay you in this life, but in the next life I will definitely repay you. In the next life I will be your lover, completely your lover. Crystal tears flowed out of Sun Jingyi's eyes. She looked at the dying Lin Yi on the ground, but there was nothing she could do. Of course not dead. Lin Yi spat out a mouthful of blood. Old thing, which sector you from? Let me die. Let me die in peace. I'll find you for revenge in my next life. What? Trying to get information out of me? The head protector was stunned. He did not expect Lin Yi to ask such a question before he died. Of course. Otherwise, I won't be able to die in peace. Lin Yi was simply stalling for time. His internal injuries were too severe, so Lin Yi had to seize the time to recover. I'm sorry, but you can only die with everlasting regret. Even at this moment, the Great Protector still couldn't reveal the power behind him. Although it wasn't a big secret on a certain level, there were some things that were tacitly understood. Alright, then I won't ask anymore. What exactly is this thing that you want to snatch? What's it used for? Lin Yi changed the topic. You don't know? The head guard was stunned. An old man with disheveled hair and tattered clothes carried a black iron rod in his hand. He stood majestically at the place where Lin Yi was lying. He looked at the head guard with a cold smile. The aura on his body was stronger than the head guard's. Master. Lin Yi, who had a new lease of life, saw the old man in front of him who saved his life at a critical moment. He couldn't help but call out these two words. Quickly take you and hide. Leave this to Master. This old man was the heaven-ranked weirdo that Lin Yi met after the Ice Palace trial. He didn't expect to meet him here. Moreover, it was the most dangerous moment. Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. At the same time, he was a little worried. Although this cheap master of his had the strength of the peak late stage of heaven-ranked, he didn't seem to be very smart. He wouldn't run away after a few hits, right? Then he and Sun Jingyi would be in danger again. Hearing the way the weirdo called Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi, a trace of doubt flashed across the head guard's eyes. Weren't these the names of those two people? Was this old thing's mental illness acting up again? Or were these two juniors in front of him the two people who had disguised themselves? Chapter 2238. Just when things were about to succeed, someone suddenly appeared out of nowhere. This old thing occasionally appeared in the upper range of the Wulonghout mountain range. It wasn't that the Great Guardian didn't know about him, but he knew him quite well. This was because the heaven-ranked eccentric was also one of the people he was responsible for monitoring. However, this old thing was crazy and his strength was terrifying. He had reached the peak of the world's martial arts, the peak of the heaven-ranked late stage. Therefore, the Great Guardian wouldn't easily provoke him and let him walk around the mountain range. In any case, this person was stupid. Although he had the strength of the peak of the heaven-ranked late stage, he didn't have much vigilance. He didn't notice that he was being monitored by the Great Guardian. As for finding a few more people to capture this old thing, it wasn't that the Great Guardian didn't think about it. The key was that this guy's martial arts were very strong. Not to mention that it would be troublesome to capture him. Even if he was captured, he probably wouldn't be able to get any information out of him. This person's words were incoherent and didn't have a single point. It was better to let him wander around in the mountain range. If that thing was really hidden by him, maybe one day he would remember it and find it. Then the Great Guardian would be able to sit back and enjoy the fruits of his labor. However, this guy's appearance today wasn't a good time. This made the Great Guardian very depressed. This old thing clearly wanted to stand up for Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi, forcing the Great Guardian to have no choice but to confront him head-on. Although the Great Guardian was the direct disciple of that place and was stronger than ordinary experts of the same level, this old thing's strength was several levels higher than his, making him feel uncertain. Old thing, this has nothing to do with you. What are you doing here? The Great Guardian asked. Master will help you take revenge. You take and leave first. There's a cave over there, wait for me there. The heaven-ranked eccentric said and laughed strangely. He raised the black iron rod in his hand and smashed it towards the Great Guardian. A huge amount of true qi wrapped around the black iron rod and smashed it straight towards the Great Guardian's head. The Great Guardian's expression changed slightly. He had no choice but to wave his long whip to meet the attack. However, what made him relieved was that this old thing didn't use any martial arts and completely relied on true qi to control the weapon. This made the Great Guardian relax. Boom. The whip and rod intertwined once again, making a loud sound. The powerful true qi collided and created a huge explosion. For a moment, sand and stones flew everywhere. What a strong power. Lin Yi used this time to heal most of his injuries. Of course, it was only a part of it. His meridians and organs were healed, but that was only enough to keep him from dying. His ribs were still broken, but that wasn't important. He just looked a little worse for wear. Since the Great Guardian was to be to help to Lin Ea to help. Since Lin of he the Guardian had to said. Lin Guardian was to say. Of the Lin of and Yang of the Guardian of the Great Guardian to was to stage. Lin Ea needed a quiet place to heal his wounds as well. Those few whips from the protector had given him heavy injuries, and if he didn't heal himself quickly he wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Naturally he didn't dare to heal his injuries on the spot. He was too close to the Great Protector. If this old dog took advantage of the fact that his cheap master wasn't prepared and attacked him, then he would be finished. Sure enough, Lin Ea saw a cave in the direction the heaven rank eccentric was pointing. There were some simple household utensils and traces of a bonfire in the cave. It seemed that this was where the heaven rank eccentric lived. Come to think of it, the heaven-ranked eccentric should have come here to wait for his disciple after they parted ways. Then today he should have sensed the true energy fluctuations brought about by the Great Guardian's whips, so he hurried over. "Are you okay?" Lin Ea asked after putting Sun Jingyi down. "I'm fine. I just scratched my arm. It's just a superficial wound." Sun Jingyi shook her head. "Are you okay? If you can't, I can heal you." When Sun Jingyi said this, it was a struggle in her heart. She had only practiced the first level of the Sun family's mental cultivation method. In other words, if she stagnated, then she could only heal one person for the rest of her life. If she healed Lin Ea, then she couldn't heal anyone else. As for her relationship with Lin Ea, it was self-evident from now on. However, Sun Jingyi saw that Lin Ye's injuries were so serious, much more serious than yesterday. His chest was dented by the Great Protector. In her opinion, even if Lin Ea could heal himself, could he survive such a serious injury alone? Therefore Sun Jingyi made this suggestion. "Oh, if you heal me, what about the future?" Lin Ea was slightly stunned after listening to Sun Jingyi's words, then asked with a smile. I don't care about the future. I just don't want anything to happen to you." Sun Jingyi said solemnly. "Don't worry, it's not that serious. I can handle it myself." Lin Ea smiled. He didn't expect Sun Jingyi to make up her mind to take this step. His heart was very comforted. It seemed that this girl was loyal. He didn't come out with her for nothing. "And, if you can't do it, please tell me." Sun Jingyi looked at Lin Ye's injury and was a little worried. Lin Ea nodded and didn't say much. He closed his eyes and ran the second level of the Art of Dragon Mastery. He quickly healed his injury. He had to recover as soon as possible. Although there was a master at the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage helping him fight, Lin Ea was still worried. This master was a little unreliable. If he ran away in the middle of the fight and the guard came looking for him, he and Sun Jingyi would be unlucky again. Therefore the most important thing was to heal his injury first and then see if his master killed the guard. If he did, then he would be relieved. Sun Jingyi knew that Lin Ea was healing and didn't dare to disturb him. She just sat quietly and carefully observed Lin Ye's movements. When she saw Lin Ye's face gradually become ruddy, and the sunken ribs in his chest were slowly recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye, Sun Jingyi sighed in amazement at Lin Ye's magic and finally breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Ea was actually more powerful than the Sun family's mental cultivation method. Such a serious injury recovered so easily? Didn't that mean that as long as Lin Ea was breathing he wouldn't die? Thinking of this situation, Sun Jingyi was shocked. Wasn't this too powerful? Although she more or less knew some of Lin Ye's magic, seeing it with her own eyes at this moment, Sun Jingyi was still shocked. Chapter 2239. His physical strength had recovered to its peak, but he wasn't happy at all. Instead he was worried. Why hasn't Master returned yet? The Great Protector was a Heaven rank initial stage master, while his master was a Heaven rank late stage master. The gap between the two was huge. To put it bluntly, it was similar to the previous battle between Lin Ea and the Great Protector. They weren't on the same level at all. It was a one-sided battle. However, it had been half an hour and his master still hadn't finished the battle? Lin Ea was a little worried. A Heaven rank late stage master shouldn't be that hard to kill a Heaven rank initial stage master, right? Back then, when Miss Rock Candy was in the Hidden Tang family, she was very overbearing. "Jingyi, stay here. Don't go out. I'll go see Master." Lin Ea hesitated for a moment and said, "He is the one who gave you the map?" Sun Jingyi also guessed the identity of the heaven rank eccentric. It's him. It's been half an hour and he still hasn't returned. I'm afraid something happened to him. Lin Yi nodded and said seriously. Then, be careful. Sun Jingyi originally wanted to go with him, but she suddenly thought that it would be a waste of time. Instead she would become a burden, so she simply gave up on the idea. After I go, if the situation isn't right, I'll let out a long whistle. At that time, you take the skybolt pig down the mountain and take refuge in the Great Flame Lion's cave. Lin Yi said. This. Sun Jingyi really didn't want to run alone. I can only run if you run. Don't worry, I'll definitely go back. I'm just afraid that I won't be able to heal myself. I'll have to rely on you. Lin Yi said. And Sun Jingyi's face was slightly red, but she agreed. Indeed, if she was here she wouldn't be able to help Lin Yi. Instead she would make him afraid and become his burden. This wasn't the time to be emotional, so Sun Jingyi finally agreed. From the moment Lin Yi walked out of the cave he began to compress a chi bomb. Now that Lin Yi's physical strength had returned to its peak, Lin Yi was ready to compress a bigger chi bomb. Of course, after Lin Yi left the cave he didn't walk very fast. In fact, it could be said that he was very slow. This was because Lin Yi was very careful with every step he took. He was always checking the surroundings and feeling the changes in the jade space. If the jade space emitted a weak warning signal, Lin Yi would give Sun Jingyi an advance warning. Lin Yi walked all the way to the hall at the top, but there wasn't any danger. As he walked closer he heard sounds. It seemed that the battle between his heaven-ranked strange master and the great guardian was not over yet. This made Lin Yi feel a little strange. The difference in strength between the two was so obvious. Why hadn't the battle ended after more than half an hour? Could it be that there were other new enemies joining in? Or did this great guardian have the same ability as him to fight against enemies of a higher level? However, even if he had the ability to fight against enemies of a higher level, wasn't this ability a little too strong? An early stage heaven rank could compete with a peak late stage heaven rank master. Thinking of this, Lin Yi quickened his pace and finally arrived at the top of the mountain again. However, he saw the strange man and the great guardian fighting inextricably. The two people were still the same and there were no new enemies joining the battle. In other words, the great guardian had the ability to fight against a peak late stage heaven rank master. However, after watching for a while, Lin Yi found something unusual and couldn't help but frown. That great guardian was indeed very powerful. He was definitely much more powerful than old Master Zhao and those hidden families' heaven rank masters, but he definitely didn't have the ability to fight against a peak late stage heaven rank master. At this moment he was able to fight evenly with the heaven-ranked eccentric because although the heaven-ranked eccentric's strength was there, he did not know how to use martial skills. He did not know whether he had forgotten or simply did not think of using them. He simply poured his true chi into the black iron rod in his hand to resist the great guardian's whip. In this way, one side was completely using true chi to fight head-on, while the other side was relying on exquisite martial skills to make up for a lot of the gap and shortcomings of the great guardian. However, the most important thing was that there seemed to be some problems with the strange man's mind. His mind wasn't bright and it also affected his reaction speed and moves. On the other side, the great guardian had a very clear method. One move after another, it was continuous. As soon as the first move ended, the next move would follow. But looking at the strange man, it was completely random. There was no method to speak of and he hit wherever he wanted. As he continued to watch, Lin Yi shook his head again and again. In just a short while the strange man had already been hit. If it wasn't for his tyrannical strength, he would have been defeated by the great guardian long ago and wouldn't have been able to last until now. Fortunately, his foundation was thick and his strength was there. For a moment, although he was stretched, he wouldn't be defeated. However, as a bystander, Lin Yi was anxious in his heart. If this went on, it definitely wouldn't work. If this went on, the strange man would definitely lose. Although he was an expert with the strength of a peak late-stage heaven rank master, he didn't have any tactics or martial arts. He relied entirely on his tyrannical strength to fight head-on. Now that he was in danger, if the great guardian found a flaw and opportunity, it wasn't impossible to seriously injure him or even kill him. And the great guardian obviously saw this. He didn't risk his life fighting the strange man. Instead, he launched sneak attacks while fighting. At the same time, he looked for the strange man's weakness and opening, preparing to give him a fatal blow when he was unprepared. The Great Guardian had already seen Lin Yi's return, but he didn't care at all. In his eyes, Lin Yi was a dead man. Not to mention that he had already been seriously injured. Even if he hadn't, his moves wouldn't have any effect on the Great Guardian. Thus, he wasn't afraid that Lin Yi would help. In a battle between heaven rank experts, an earth rank expert wouldn't be helping, but would be a hindrance. If Lin Yi participated, the strange man would have to protect him. At that time, it would give the Great Guardian an opportunity to attack. The Great Guardian believed that Lin Yi wasn't stupid enough to rashly participate in a battle of this level. Thus, he continued to fight the heaven rank eccentric fearlessly. The apprehension and fear he had felt when they first fought had long since been thrown out of the 9 heavens. In his opinion, defeating or even killing the heaven rank eccentric was only a matter of time. And Lin Yi taking the initiative to come back was simply a good thing. After killing the strange man, he didn't need to look for Lin Yi anymore. This little thing had come back to die. Instead, it lightly rose, bypassed his block, and fiercely lashed at his legs from another direction. Raging waves of the raging sea, the 12th move. This move. The head protector used all of his power, not even hesitating to use the 12th form of the raging waves of the raging sea, which wasted his physical strength. As a heaven rank initial stage expert, he could activate the 12th form of the martial technique. This was a very impressive thing, but considering his identity and the fact that he came from that place, it was not surprising at all. "Master, be careful." Lin Yi couldn't help but shout when he saw this scene. But his shout was already too late. Even if it was just a heaven rank initial stage expert, how fast was he? Lin Yi saw through his intentions and tried to warn him, but it was already too late. The strange heaven rank man's reaction speed was poor. When he heard Lin Yi's words, he hesitated for a moment before reacting. As a result, he was hit by the Great Guardian. Bang! A loud sound was heard. The strange heaven rank man's leg burst into a mist of blood. The Great Guardian's raging waves of the raging sea, which could topple mountains and overturn the seas, affected Lin Yi, who was far away. He was swept by the violent and strong true energy, causing his body to sway. He staggered and sat on the ground. Fortunately, Lin Yi was far away, and the Great Guardian's move was directed at the strange heaven rank man. Most of the force hit the strange heaven rank man, and Lin Yi wasn't affected much. However, the strange heaven rank man wasn't so good. He knelt on the ground from this blow and let out an unwilling scream and roar. "How is it? Isn't it great, old madman? This is just the beginning." The Great Guardian's confidence swelled to the extreme after his attack succeeded. "Even if you are a heaven rank late stage expert, I can still grind you to death. With my current physical state, I can at least activate the 12th form of raging waves of the raging sea 5 more times. Can you take these 5 times? Although the strange heaven rank man's mind was damaged, he wouldn't show any weakness in front of his enemies. He stood up shakily from the ground and angrily waved the black iron rod towards the Great Guardian's face. If it weren't for the fact that the 12th move required some time to charge up, the guard really wanted to use the 12th move of the raging seas and raging waves to beat this old madman so hard that he couldn't even crawl back up. Raging waves of the raging sea, 11th form. He couldn't activate the 12th form consecutively, but he could use it together with the 11th form. One fast and one slow, he could still kill the strange heaven rank man. The strange heaven rank man was already injured and his lower body was unstable. The black iron rod in his hand was wrapped by the Great Guardian's whip. With a shake, he was thrown away and landed heavily on the ground. Chapter 2241. What Lin Yi lacked now was time. As long as he sped up the speed of his mental cultivation method, the speed of compressing true qi would also increase. Lin Yi hadn't eaten it before because he was reluctant to use it. He wouldn't use it easily unless it was a life and death situation. Although this extreme energy golden pill was only a first-grade elixir, with Han Jingjing's current level of alchemy, she could completely refine it in batches. However, the reason why Lin Yi treasured it was not because it was difficult to refine, but because one of the ingredients in this elixir was very precious. Of course, this precious was relative. For the hidden Tang family it might not be much, but for Lin Yi it was precious. It was because this medicinal ingredient was monopolized by the heavenly elixir sect. The medicinal ingredients that flowed out of the market were also dried. There were no seeds, and even old Lin couldn't cultivate them in batches. Relying on the sale of treasures and medicinal ingredients as well as finished elixirs was the biggest source of income for the heavenly elixir sect. The reason why the heavenly elixir sect could continue to grow was also because of this monopolizing a variety of resources in the cultivation world. Therefore, this extreme energy golden pill was used up, and Lin Yi didn't have any left. If he wanted to get some raw materials for the extreme energy golden pill, Lin Yi couldn't ask the heavenly elixir sect directly. Thinking of this, Lin Yi regretted a little. When he exchanged information with Right Coiling Tiger, he should have exchanged for more medicinal ingredients for the extreme energy golden pill. However, at that time, Lin Yi didn't expect that there would be a medicinal ingredient in this first-grade elixir that was monopolized by the heavenly elixir sect. When Lin Yi went out this time and sorted out his belongings, he remembered to check the prescription of the extreme energy golden pill. However, he didn't expect that after checking it would be like this. However, in this situation, no matter how rare this extreme energy golden pill was, he had to eat it. If he didn't eat it, he would die. Raging Waves, 12th style. Taking advantage of the strange man falling to the ground, the guard had just finished recovering his true chi. Once again he urged the 12th style Raging Sea Bite. The soft whip wrapped in green true chi once again mercilessly lashed at the strange man. Lin Yi was anxious, but he didn't stop it at this moment. Instead, he quickly refined the elixir and continued to circulate his inner force cultivation method to compress the true energy bomb. This extreme golden elixir of energy was indeed effective. Lin Yi suddenly discovered that his mental cultivation method's circulation speed had actually been forcibly increased by more than twofold. No wonder it was called extreme golden elixir of energy. It really increased the human body's energy to the limit. Bang! The whip landed on the Heaven Rank Eccentric's body and once again exploded into a thick bloody mist. The Heaven Rank Eccentric let out a blood-curdling screech filled with anger and unwillingness. He staggered as he crawled up from the ground. However, he spat out a mouthful of blood. It was obvious that his injuries were not light. This time, the Heaven-Ranked Eccentric didn't have time to block the 12th form of the Raging Sea's Raging Waves, and it completely smashed into his body. How could the Heaven-Ranked Eccentric have an easy time? His trembling body swayed on the spot before he could steady himself. His entire face was extremely pale and wretched. Old madman. This taste is not bad, right? Does it feel good? The guard sneered. A dignified peak late phase expert was actually beaten into such a sorry state by a heaven rank early phase cultivator. Ha! The guard's laughter was very savage. Previously, he didn't expect that he could actually beat the heaven-ranked eccentric into such a sorry state. Humph! The heaven-ranked eccentric's eyes flashed with hatred. Although his entire body was in great pain, he still endured it and stood up. However, the moment he stood up, he suddenly thought of something and turned to look at Lin Yi. He shouted, Why are you back again? Run now. Take you down the mountain and run far away. Don't worry about me. Although his mind was a little problematic and his mind wasn't very bright, he could still distinguish between friend and foe. Moreover, he was very clear about his own situation. Although the guard's level was much lower than his, he was not his opponent at all. However, after a long time he forgot how to activate his Raging Fire Fist and could only use his true chi to resist. Moreover, because his mind wasn't very bright, it made his reaction speed a lot slower. That was why he suffered a big loss and lost in a mess. However, it didn't matter if he lost, he had to let Lin Yi escape. No one will be able to escape. The guard sneered and raised his hand. The whip in his hand once again lashed at the heaven-ranked eccentric, Raging Waves of the Raging Sea, 11th form. The 11th form Raging Waves of the Raging Sea, and the 12th form Raging Waves of the Raging Sea were used together. It was a tried and tested magical weapon that allowed the heaven-ranked eccentric to be unable to turn the situation around. Bang! Although the heaven-rank eccentric tried his best to block with the black iron rod in his hand, his stamina consumption was too high and he had suffered serious internal injuries. He simply wasn't a match for the Great Protector and was sent flying once again, landing on the ground with a bang. The severe pain from his chest and the severe physical exhaustion caused the heaven-ranked eccentric's vision to gradually become blurry. He looked at Lin Yi, who was still sitting on the ground like an old monk in meditation, and the guard who raised the whip and sneered. The heaven-ranked eccentric was unwilling. "Disciple, quickly run, what are you dawdling for?" The heaven-ranked eccentric roared at Lin Yi in shock and anger. Lin Yi clenched his teeth. He didn't want to waste any more energy talking. He was about to succeed. "Old lunatic, accept your fate." The guard let out a strange cry. He stomped on the ground and flew towards the direction of the heaven-ranked eccentric. He raised the whip in his hand and waved it in the air. With the attitude of a victor, he looked at the heaven-ranked eccentric who was on the verge of death. "With my insignificant heaven-ranked early-stage strength, I actually beat a heaven-ranked late-stage expert like a dog. Haha, if this gets out, it will be a huge joke in the cultivation world." After saying that, the guard prepared to activate the 12th form, Raging Waves of the Raging Sea. He could basically confirm that once this form was activated, even if the heaven-ranked eccentric didn't die, he wouldn't be far from it. Even if there were miraculous pills, it wouldn't be able to save him. When the heaven-ranked eccentric saw that Lin Yi wasn't running, he felt a pain in his heart. He struggled to get up from the ground and prepared to fight with the guard, but he didn't know how useful that would be. "You will get your retribution sooner or later." The heaven-ranked eccentric roared angrily. Chapter 2242. Master, be careful. At this moment, Lin Yi had completely compressed all the chi in his body into a super energy bomb. He stood up without stopping and shouted at the heaven-ranked monster. Then he said to the guard, "Old dog, eat my move first." How could the guard pay attention to Lin Yi? He had already experienced Lin Yi's strongest move. It was just so and could only cause slight injuries to him. It wouldn't affect him much at all. This time he was determined to get rid of the heaven-ranked monster. As long as this move was used, the heaven-ranked monster would have no room to turn the tables. Therefore he hesitated for a moment but didn't stop. The whip still swept towards the monster, leaving his back to Lin Yi. He was ready to take this move head-on. Although Lin Yi might injure him again, it was worth it compared to getting rid of the heaven-ranked monster in one fell swoop. What made the guard the happiest was that Lin Yi didn't run and even dared to take the opportunity to sneak attack him. Didn't he know what it meant to be a mantis trying to stop a chariot? Looking at the whip lashing towards the heaven-ranked monster, Lin Yi sighed. It seemed that he couldn't change the guard's mind. But it was also good that he let the monster fly. Otherwise, when the energy bomb exploded, the monster would probably be affected. As long as the monster didn't die and still had a breath left, Lin Yi was confident that he could save him. Thinking about it, an expert at the peak of the late stage of heaven-ranked shouldn't die so easily, right? Thinking of this, Lin Yi's body quickly rushed towards the guard. However, in order to not waste the energy and produce the biggest explosion, Lin Yi risked his life to detonate the energy bomb at close range. Seeing the heaven-ranked monster flying far away, Lin Yi also released the energy bomb in his hand. "Old dog, you're right. You'll have to pay for it sooner or later. I'll send you on your way now. Go to hell." After Lin Yi shouted, his body started to retreat rapidly, and at the place where Lin Yi was standing a moment ago, a figure appeared. There was a deafening explosion. Boom. A thunderous sound boomed in the hall at the peak of the mountain. At this moment, the entire Wulong Haut mountain range was shaking violently. This was the second time that Lin Yi had created a complete Jin Qi bomb, and he had not expected that the effect would be even greater than the last time. The sound of the explosion was like that of an atomic bomb. In an instant, a huge and terrifying energy was released. A mushroom cloud rose directly from the site of the incident. Green bricks, mud, and debris were all swept up. Sand and pebbles filled the sky. The entire hall seemed to have ceased to exist at this moment. Everything had been reduced to rubble that flew up into the sky. As for the place where the head protector was standing, because of the dust, he could not be seen clearly at all. No one knew what had happened to the head protector. Lin Yi's body. Although he was outside the center of the explosion, Lin Yi had experienced a big explosion before, so he was more experienced than Ma Zhu. But even so, Lin Yi was still heavily injured by the shockwave. Although Lin Yi's injury was not as serious as the last time, It was inevitable that his meridians were broken. However, Linny did not faint. Instead, he looked at the center of the explosion with a pale face. He watched the mushroom cloud formed by the impact of the energy explosion continue to rise into the sky. I wonder if the head protector is dead? This time it could be said that Lin Yi was betting his life. If the head protector was still alive, then Lin Yi could only blame his bad luck. The heaven rank weirdo had been hit head-on. Because he had no physical strength and was seriously injured, he did not even block and was directly sent flying. His body was far away from the scope of the hull. Although he gritted his teeth and held on, he knew that he could not hold on for long. His internal organs were all shattered and his meridians were mostly broken. In this situation, no matter how many elixirs he took, it would be impossible to save him. However, he was worried about his disciple's safety, so he raised his head unwillingly. But when he raised his head, he saw a shocking scene. A thunderous sound suddenly came from where the head protector and Lin Yi were. Then, along with the flying sand and stones, a mushroom cloud rose into the sky. The heaven rank weirdo did not know what had happened, but he could guess that it was most likely Lin Yi using some method of mutual destruction. Did this kid bring a nuclear weapon up the mountain? Unable to see the situation over there, the heaven rank weirdo was anxious, but his body could not move at all. The thick smoke finally dispersed. The tremors of the Wulong Haut mountain range had also stopped. The flying sand and pebbles had also been blown away to an unknown place. In the main hall where the fight had just taken place, a super deep pit had appeared. Although Lin Yi had exhausted all his energy and was seriously injured, he still insisted on walking in the direction of the deep pit. When he arrived at the edge of the deep pit, Lin Yi was very surprised. He was surprised that the head protector actually didn't die under such a huge energy explosion. This guy really had some ability. However, Lin Yi was not worried because at this moment the head protector could no longer be called a person. His arms and legs were long gone and there was a huge hole in his abdomen. His head was also a bloody mess. He was probably hanging on with his true chi and dying was only a matter of time. Old dog, how do you feel? Very comfortable, right? Lin Yi sneered at the head protector in the deep pit. The head protector looked at Lin Yi, his murky eyes flashing with unwillingness and confusion. He never would have thought that Lin Yi, an Earth rank mid-phase expert, could actually use such a powerful move. What kind of move was this? Although he was confused, shocked, and angry, he did not dare to speak. He was afraid that if he opened his mouth, he would spit out true chi and die immediately. He imagined that at this moment someone would come up to the mountain to save him. If someone from his sect came, he must tell this important news to his sect. This Earth rank mid-phase expert in front of him, no matter what, must be eliminated. Too monstrous, too strong. If he was allowed to grow, the situation of the martial arts world would perhaps undergo earth-shaking changes. This person must not be left alive. A dignified heaven rank early phase expert was beaten like a dog by a small Earth rank mid-phase expert. Does it feel good? Lin Yi looked at the head protector in front of him with satisfaction. Oh right, you are not even comparable to a dog. My dog can trample you to death with one foot. The head protector's chest heaved up and down. He looked at Lin Yi in shock and anger but did not open his mouth to speak. Chapter 2243. How did you? The guard didn't expect Lin Yi to see through his relationship with the Tagan family and was shocked. It didn't matter if he died, but if it affected the sect's plan, then he would be a sinner for all eternity. Because his brother was still in the sect, he wanted to spread the news. However, the moment he opened his mouth, he spat out the last bit of true chi that was hanging on to his life. The guard's eyes rolled back and he died with everlasting regret. He passed away unwillingly. Lin Yi frowned. He wanted to threaten and bribe the guard to get some useful clues from his mouth, but he didn't expect this old thing to die. But if he died, then so be it. Lin Yi didn't have time to care about him. Right now, Lin Yi was like a crossbow. The only strength he had left in his body was to say those few words. At this moment, after saying those words, Lin Yi collapsed on the ground and used his last bit of strength to shout, "Skybolt Pig! GG!" Skybolt Pig jumped out and ran into Lin Yi's arms. Looking at the sudden appearance of Skybolt Pig, Lin Yi was a bit stunned. This little thing was nearby? If he knew it was nearby, Lin Yi wouldn't have shouted for it and wasted so much energy. It must be known that Lin Yi didn't have a trace of true qi in his body, so he could only rely on his physical strength. Of course, what Lin Yi didn't know was that while Sun Jingyi was waiting anxiously in the cave, Lin Yi didn't come back. The Heaven Stage Strange Man also didn't come back, and Lin Yi also didn't issue a warning whistle. Therefore, Sun Jingyi was anxious, but she didn't dare to go, so she sent Skybolt Pig to check the situation. This little thing was small and good at hiding, so it probably wouldn't be easy to be found. Sun Jingyi was going to wait for Skybolt Pig to find out what was going on before coming back to report. That was the truth. The Lightning Pig had a petite body and hid far away. After it went, the Heaven Ranker and the Great Protector didn't notice it. Even Lin Yi didn't notice it. This little guy was smart. However, Lin Yi did not think too much about it. He picked up the Skybolt Pig and started to absorb its true qi to heal himself. Although the Skybolt Pig appeared to be in great pain, it still allowed Lin Yi to absorb the qi from its body. Skybolt Pig was very smart. He knew that Lin Yi needed to heal his injuries, so he gritted his teeth and endured. Lin Yi first used the true qi from the Skybolt Pig to repair his meridians. For Lin Yi, this was already a walk in the park. However, after Lin Yi repaired his meridians, he didn't continue to repair his internal organs and injured bones. Instead, he quickly ran to the strange heaven-ranked man. "Master, how are you?" Although the master in front of Lin Yi was fake, Lin Yi had already regarded him as someone he respected. He was very likely to be Faubert's master. Moreover, he stood up for him in his moment of crisis, so Lin Yi was very concerned about his situation. I'm afraid I can't make it. Lier, what move did you use just now? How could it be so powerful?" A trace of confusion flashed through the strange heaven-ranked man's muddy eyes. "How come I don't remember you having such a powerful move?" "I learned it later," Lin Yi said perfunctorily. Seeing that the strange heaven-ranked man was still breathing, he immediately heaved a sigh of relief. As long as he wasn't dead, it would be easy to deal with him. "If I'm about to die, what's the point of saying this? I still have a few important words to say to you. It's about the enemy." Cough, cough. At this point, the strange heaven-ranked man suddenly coughed and coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. It was obvious that he couldn't hold on any longer. "Master, don't talk for now, I'll heal you." Lin Yi was shocked. He knew that he couldn't delay any longer, so he quickly grabbed the strange heaven-ranked man's hand and locked his pulse. At the same time, he began to use the second stage of the art of dragon mastery to heal the strange heaven-ranked man. At the same time, he instructed Skybolt Pig, go tell Jing Yi that we're fine. Let her come over, I'll help you recover your strength later. Skybolt Pig's true qi was mostly absorbed by Lin Yi, but Skybolt Pig also knew that it was only temporary. Lin Yi would help him recover later, so he barked twice and quickly ran in the direction of the cave. The true qi that Lin Yi absorbed from Skybolt Pig was first used to heal his meridians, but to heal the strange heaven-ranked man's broken internal organs and bones first. Lin Yi's meridians were used to circulate the mental cultivation method to transfer true qi, so it didn't matter if the strange heaven-ranked man's meridians were not repaired for the time being. Lin Yi had to help him save his life first. He directly extracted energy from the space in the jade and transferred it into the strange heaven-ranked man's body. Lin Yi quickly helped him repair his broken internal organs and bones. This magical effect made the strange heaven-ranked man's eyes widen. "Lier, when did you also cultivate Yuer's mental cultivation method? You can actually heal me?" "Master, don't talk first, it's a waste of true qi," Lin Yi reminded. Although Lin Yi was here and the strange heaven-ranked man wouldn't die, it was still a waste of true qi for him to talk now. Lin Yi himself was just holding on. After healing the strange heaven-ranked man, Lin Yi still had to heal himself. The strange heaven-ranked man nodded. Although he felt strange, he thought that it was most likely taught by Yuga, so he no longer had any doubts. He quietly lay there and enjoyed Lin Yi's healing. Skybolt Pig ran back to the cave, and Sun Jingyi didn't know what had happened when she heard that deafening sound. She didn't dare go up, but the feeling of the earth shaking and the mountains shaking still made her heart skip a beat. She didn't know if someone took the explosives to blow up the mountain, so she was even more anxious. When she saw Skybolt Pig, she quickly asked, "Skybolt Pig, how is it? Are Lin Yi and that strange heaven-ranked man all right?" Although Skybolt Pig saw that Lin Yi was injured, he also knew that after Lin Yi killed the guard he could heal himself and the strange heaven-ranked man, so he wasn't in danger. In order to make Sun Jingyi feel at ease, Skybolt Pig nodded. "They're fine." "That's great." Sun Jingyi saw Skybolt Pig nodding and immediately heaved a sigh of relief. The big stone in her heart was finally lifted. "Gigi." Skybolt Pig stretched out his front paw and pointed outside, meaning for Sun Jingyi to follow him. Sun Jingyi didn't hesitate and directly followed Skybolt Pig out of the cave. They walked towards the top of the mountain, but the higher they went the more shocked they were. That originally incomparably majestic hall had actually disappeared without a trace. Although it was dilapidated and there were ruins everywhere, at least the overall outline was there, making people feel that it was majestic. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.